The following is a presentation of ESPN on ABC.
Welcome to college football, presented by Kay Jewelers, as part of Veterans Week, brought to you by USAA. You're watching the ACC on ABC. Boston College has won 3 in a row in the ACC for the first time since 2013, and they have a very talented opponent in the building today, looking to make it 4 in a row against NC State. Hi again, everyone. Bob Wischusen here with Brock Ewart. Allison Williams will join us in just a moment. When this season began for the Wolfpack, they were thinking college football playoff.
Yeah.
That obviously has gone by the wayside with their last 2 losses, but how important is this game still for the future of their program?
I think it's enormous to still get to 10 wins, the possibility of that. I think this is a top 15 roster in all of college football, maybe even top 10. And in fact, they've got a guy that the NFL loves and covets in Bradley Chubb. And to me, he's got to set the tone today. He's one of the 5 best football players in America. He is the Energizer Bunny for this team on a day where the stadium is going to be a little different than it was in South Bend or at home against Clemson a week ago. They have got to bring the energy, and he in particular.
The kickoff just moments from now. We'll hear from Allison when we come back. And arguably a top 10 NFL draft choice, and Bradley Chubb will be out there for the Pack.
You're watching Veterans Week coverage on ESPN, brought to you by USAA.
Plenty of emotions on display here inside Alumni Stadium. It is senior day for Boston College, and this is a group head coach Steve Addazio credits with being the catalyst that brought this team together. And he points to last year's game against NC State, a time when there was a lot of questions and negativity swirling around Addazio and his staff. But then junior Ty Schwab stood up at halftime, and he promised his head coach they would take care of things. He said, "Coach, we have your back." Boston College found a way to win that game, and when recounting the moment, both Addazio and Schwab got choked up. Head coach Steve Addazio said, "We beat them on emotion," and they'll look to draw on some of that emotion here this afternoon.
Well, Ty Schwab and the defense will be on the field first, as Boston College won the toss and deferred. So if you're a 5th-year senior, Brock, you are a guy like a Charlie Callanan on the offensive side for BC that hung in when Steve Addazio was hired. Obviously, Ty Schwab, part of his first recruiting class. So there has to be some sentimental value to the first senior day for a head coach that's bringing out a group of seniors that he recruited.
I don't think there's any doubt about it, and it's a whole lot better feeling when you've won your last 3 games. And you know, that's why we're here. That's why ABC is broadcasting this game, as Boston College has won a few, and on the other side you have an NC State team, as I said to you moments ago, that has got to match any emotion that these seniors are going to bring. Because Dave Doran's team is very talented. This is a senior-laden team against a lot of freshmen on the other side for Boston College. Dave Doran, who we met with last night, and you could still feel it. He's felt the sting of those last 2 losses against top 5 teams.
But he's got an NFL-level quarterback that's going to be out there to begin. Ryan Finley looking for NC State's 5th ACC win, which for them would be the most since 2010.
And they're going to throw it early. I would expect them to be very aggressive. You know, how do you get over those kind of games, those top 5 losses to Clemson and Notre Dame? You know, it sure helps to find success early, and Naheem Hines and Finley and crew, I think, will be very aggressive in the first 15 minutes this afternoon.
Max Schulze-Geistable is the kickoff specialist, and he has been a touchback machine, but in chilly weather today only gets it to the 9-yard line, and there goes Naheem Hines all the way out to the 44. Dangerous in the backfield, a dangerous return man, and now outstanding field position for an NC State offense led by Ryan Finley, the redshirt junior. He's added 15 pounds from last year. His nickname used to be Skinley, and he's really still not a very bulky guy, but obviously looks a little more the part now.
And you could see off the field, earned that degree at Boise State, why he was part of the tandem that came here with Eli Drinkwitz as offensive coordinator. Double moves, aggressive shots, throws down the field early. And with favorable field position, I don't think it's going to take very long for the Wolfpack to get to those plays.
Well protected on first down. Finley loops one to the sideline, incomplete for Hines. When you watched Ryan Finley on tape, what were the things that jumped out at you the most?
Anticipation, as good as anybody we have seen this year.
Really?
He's not going to overwhelm you physically. He's still thin. He will run it. He's been more courageous within their system this year. But it's the anticipation and I think some of the touch. You know, you start the game 16 for 16 against Clemson a week ago. I think that speaks for itself.
Faced with 2nd down and 10 to start here. There goes Hines in motion. Quarterback draw. Not something that I would think comes out of the playbook too often for Dave Doran. And Eli Drinkwitz picks up a couple of yards. Zach Allen and John Lamott combine on a tackle after a gain of 2, 3rd down and 8. Six-man defensive front for BC. And they'll bring the pressure. Hit as he throws is Finley, and it comes out sideways. And Boston College gets a 3-and-out to start the game on defense.
Well, you're going to see Chubb on the other side do much of the same thing here, and just look at the pocket collapse and a beautiful one arm there by number 11 right in your face. A great play there, and that is Wyatt Ray, who is filling in for the injured Harold Landry, out today. And that pocket just collapses all around Finley. You start with a wheel route, gets you nothing. QB draw gets you nothing, and then a 3-and-out by the defense, collapsing that pocket around the redshirt junior quarterback.
A.J. Cole will try and pin Boston College deep. Pretty good kick. Michael Walker lets it sail behind him. Will it make the end zone? And it just does. So it comes out to the 20-yard line, and now the challenge for the Boston College offensive line, somehow slow this guy down.
And very few have this season. Man, he's on pace to get after the records of Mario Williams, first pick overall in an NFL draft. He's 280 pounds, and what stands out to you is he plays about 90% of the snaps, and he plays every one of them hard. Over the years of doing this, we have seen the Jadeveon Clowneys of the world and those defensive ends and linemen that take plays off. This guy does not. That's why the NFL loves him.
Play action on 1st down for the redshirt freshman Anthony Brown. A little check down, and that's a 1st down. Tommy Sweeney lost the football as he got to the sideline, but out of bounds across the 30-yard line.
And when you're playing a fierce foursome as NC State lines up 4 seniors defensively, and you've got an athletic quarterback in Anthony Brown, expect to see this. Boots get outside the pocket, lots of jet sweep, trying to get that big D line, Chubb in particular, to run sideline to sideline.
Jet sweep, we knew we'd see it, using a stiff arm. It's Thad Smith just to keep the play alive, and boy, he ran a long way to pick up 2, maybe 3 yards, but he could have been dropped for at least a 5-yard loss. Anthony Brown, again, the redshirt freshman, won a training camp battle with Darius Wade, but they thought that they saw something special in this young man, really at the start of camp.
He's gotten better and better as the season's evolved.
He's got a true freshman running back in A.J. Dillon, who breaks a tackle. 240 pounds. Maintains his balance down the sideline. He's a special runner, and he's got a 1st down in plus territory.
Does a really nice job of sealing the edge there and allowing the guy, as you said, at 240 pounds. It's in his legs. You can see that he is incredibly well built and very dynamic. And you can see the youth on this Boston College team. Seniors on the D-line, freshmen for BC in many critical spots. Excellent run to begin.
Toss sweep to Dillon. Runs through an arm tackle and picks up 7 more yards.
All 4 of those plays, Bob, do what? Outside the hash marks. Don't run right into the teeth of this defense. Let's seal the edge. Let's get outside on a jet sweep. Let's get outside on a bounce. Let's get outside on a toss. Let's get that guy starting to heave just a little bit, up and down with his breath, in and out, making sure they're running laterally.
BC lines up in a phone booth here. The tightest splits we've probably seen out of an offensive line this year. Play action for Brown. He'll tuck it under, he'll run, and he'll pick up a 1st down and more. Inside the 20-yard line, tripped up at the 18. Jarius Moorhead saved a touchdown.
Notre Dame and Clemson the last 2 weeks both had athletic quarterbacks that could keep plays alive. It is that X factor, no matter how good your defensive front is, it is the X factor that often makes a difference. They have the last few weeks. I know that's a challenge that Brown's going to take upon himself.
Here's Dillon. Trying to move the pile, running right behind the center, Ben Petrula. Now, he is a true freshman. So you have a true freshman at center, a redshirt freshman at quarterback, the only program in America right now with a freshman at center and a freshman at quarterback. Their leading rusher, A.J. Dillon, a true freshman. Their leading receiver, Kobe White, a redshirt freshman. Brown off play action towards the end zone. It's tipped and intercepted. He threw into double coverage, and it was picked off. Jarius Moorhead tipped it, and Sean Boone picked it off. So BC into the red zone, but a giveaway.
That's the one thing that Anthony has avoided over the last 5 weeks. Just one giveaway. You get into the red zone, and I'm sure this is the conversation right now. Don't get greedy. Don't get greedy. You've got the throw underneath. Take what is there against an elite defense. The redshirt freshman forcing the issue, and the Wolfpack making him pay.
Feel the thunder, lightning and the thunder, thunder, feel the thunder.
Tonight on ABC, a renewal of what once was one of the great rivalries in sports, not just college football. Notre Dame, Miami at Hard Rock Stadium, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. Back to the offense off the takeaway. Nyheim Hines for NC State picks up 4.
And what a cool scene this morning. Game day down there in South Florida. And through our years watching football on these Saturday mornings, Bob, watching these teams get after it in the heyday.
That's the old Catholics versus Convicts game. One of the great 30 for 30s that you'll ever see. Not that they're not all really good, as Hines picks up 3 more, but that one was one that we grew up with.
Yep. Had a few NFL players back in the day, and that matchup is the one I think tonight does as well.
3rd down and 3.
You're playing into the strength, and Boston College is going to man up outside. You see that press coverage. They like their matchups on the perimeter.
Slant, and it's on time. Elvin Harmon's got a 1st down conversion for NC State out to the 42, a gain of 15.
Pretty good anticipation, not ideal accuracy. If he throws that a little bit in front, Harmon did an excellent job separating from the senior item right there. There's a little bit of a look of the intermediate passing game. So much college football is about the short stuff and the deep shots. Finley's got that intermediate game figured out.
4-man rush for BC. Finley over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Stephon Lewis, but couldn't haul it in.
That's that intermediate void once again, and this is a catch that Lewis has got to make. A little bit low on the throw. Good movement from Finley. And that's a play that Lewis can certainly make.
Check to a run, Nyheim Hines for a gain of 3.5. Zach Allen tripped him up. 3rd down coming again for NC State.
Allen's a good player. He is a physical player. He's going to have to carry more of the load without Harold Landry. And it was really Landry and Allen a season ago that devastated the pocket of NC State, helped them win down in Raleigh. One of their more significant wins on the season. He's a powerful kid.
In the slot left to the top of your screen is the Swiss Army knife, Jalen Samuels. Hasn't had a touch yet, but he is always dangerous on 3rd down. Play clock down to 7. Finley looking towards Samuels, and there he is. Button hooking back to pick up a 1st down in front of Kevin Bletzer.
It's a pretty good look again at anticipation. You're going to hear me say it an awful lot here. If you're going to throw these in routes and these comebacks, and that's a matchup they want, they would take that all day long. Their most explosive, dynamic guy on the strong side linebacker for BC. What they told us yesterday they're going to try to do formationally, matchup-wise, get their guys in space.
He's on the Bolitnikoff watch list. Now, he's not a straight-up wide receiver. He is lined up here as the quarterback in the Wildcat. And there goes Jalen Samuels, getting to the outside, dragging a tackler for about 2.5. I thought it was interesting looking at that watch list. There are 2 tight ends, nothing but wide receivers, and Jalen Samuels, who plays H-back, running back, inline tight end. He'll play a quarterback in the Wildcat, does so many different things. And now they'll run a reverse and a flea flicker back to Finley. He's under pressure, and the trick play blown up by Boston College.
Well, there's one of your shot plays, and you typically do it between the 40s. I knew they were going to be aggressive today. Dave Doran asks his offensive coordinator, Eli Drinkwitz, to go ahead to take those shots. That's a pretty heads-up play. It doesn't look good on the stat sheet, obviously, but a young quarterback gets this play called, and he's going to try to do something, and try to create something, and Finley knows it is a dead play from the very beginning. Just gets what he can.
3rd down and 12. Only a 3-man rush. A check down underneath to Hines. He's going to try and run for it. Right at the 1st down line to gain. Let's see will they mark him down. And both coaches told us yesterday that if they are in a 4th and short in this type of situation, Brock, it's pretty much an automatic go for it for both teams.
Yep. And that play reflective of some of just the downhill nature of BC's defense here in this 1st quarter.
And it looks like they'll say 1st down without measurement. So a catch and run for Nyheim Hines on 3rd down and a long 12. And he picks it up.
You see the athleticism of that group. They're not only big up front. Right tackle Will Richardson, he'll play in the NFL. Those are all juniors and seniors for Finley in front of them. The big physical kids, but they don't mind getting out in space. Did a wonderful job targeting in that screen pass, getting to the 2nd level and freeing Hines up.
Tenth play of the drive is a handoff. And Hines picks up 2.
Got to be patient. If you want to set up those shots, you do so by being patient in the run game. Even if it's 2 or 3 yards, you have got to commit to that. Because off of, they call that outside stretch zone, off of that comes the deep play action. That's when you get the full sale of those linebackers and those safeties starting to cheat. But the only way that happens is to commit to it early.
Little option play. The pitch out to Hines. Breaks a tackle and then gets met. He might have lost a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 9. There's Ty Schwab, the senior, showing up with Will Harris.
These 2 safeties, they are tough to beat. You saw it on the double pass or reverse, whatever. They did not bite at all. Will Harris is a good one. He's a real good one. In fact, Jim Reed, his D coordinator, said he could play linebacker, really any of the spots. Safety, he's a dynamic guy there. He was flying downhill. Still
4 down territory here for NC State?
Yes.
How does that affect this play call?
Find a completion.
3rd down and 9. That's Gillespie motioning into the backfield. Another Boston College blitz. They bring 5. Finley on the slant. Broken up. And now it's 4th down. A flag comes out. Taj Amir Torres. It looks like they have drawn the flag on Jacoby Myers.
A lot of hands there. Did an excellent job at the end of the route.
Check that. This is going to be interference against NC State. Looks like Myers will get called for a push-off. So now a decision for Steve Adazio. Do you take the down and make it 4th and 9, or take the yardage?
Pass interference. Offense, number 11. That was declined. 4th down.
I think that is a smart play. That's a call I don't think that has to be made. Both guys are actively using their hands. Smart of Adazio to decline. I think exactly what we said here for Dorn. He's going to have a decision to make, and he actually is just going to attempt a field goal.
It's a little outside the range in these temperatures that I think we were expecting, but maybe 4th down and 9 gives him a percentage where he sends Kyle Bambard out instead. Of course, Bambard last year missing that 33-yarder in the loss to Clemson, took amazing social media abuse, lost the job to Carson Wise to begin this season, but Wise has struggled. So now it's back to Bambard, trying to make from 48. And whistles before the snap. That field goal does not count, as it looks like the clock wound down. Well, now another decision to make as the clock wound down, and it's a 5-yard penalty against NC State. Now you're looking at about a 53-yard field goal.
And that's maddening for a group that has not made field goals of any consistency over the last 2 years. He just drills a 48-yarder, would have been a career long. Because of the delay, he's now got to back it up 5.
Bambard from 53. Doesn't have the distance. It does not. The 5-yard penalty just enough to take 3 points off the board for NC State.
College football on ABC is presented by K Jewelers. K Jewelers, every kiss begins with K. And in part by Ford, going further so you can.
If there's any messages to work as hard as you can in practice and attack it, because you're only here for 4 years and these 4 years go by faster than you ever would have thought. I love going here, and the program has come a long ways, and we're going to keep going after I leave. These young guys got good role models and good coaching staff and a great place at BC, and it's going to continue to grow and grow and grow, I believe.
That's Ty Schwab summing up, I'm sure, what the thoughts of all of these seniors are on senior day as Boston College goes back to the offense. Good field position after the missed field goal at their own 36. Anthony Brown wants to attack through the air. That's deflected. And it's Bradley Chubb.
Of course it is.
Pressuring Anthony Brown. Well, what does it mean to the entire team? Not just the seniors, but the rest of the seniors' teammates for a college football senior day.
Yeah, you want to see them and send them out the right way. And you hear that said, but that was always my sentiment and feeling and being around so many of these through the years. We focus us on the seniors, but the underclassmen want to finish strong.
A.J. Dillon, one of those underclassmen, a true freshman, picks up 9.
Well, guys, the first drive for BC ended with a pick in the end zone, but coach is really pleased with how they were able to move the ball, the way they played up front, helping them to break some runs to the outside. One adjustment made blocking-wise up front, but otherwise they just want to see more of the same here on the second drive.
I hear they're loading up with 3 tight ends, and they will play power football, and there goes Dillon again.
Well, this wasn't terribly complex with Steve Adazio yesterday. We're going to jet sweep them, we're going to run perimeter, we're going to boot, and then we're going to hit them in the face. And we're going to see how much they're going to handle 240-pound A.J. Dillon, because he has changed the dynamic for this program the last month.
Unbalanced line here, I formation on 1st and 10. And again, stiff arm, throws a tackler down. Wow, and picks up 5 yards. Let's check in with Cassidy Hubbard.
Thanks, Bob. AT&T Field pass, Michigan State, Ohio State. The two teams tied atop the Big Ten East, and Mike Weber finds a seam, and he's gone up the middle. 47-yard touchdown. Buckeyes strike first up 7-0. Bob, Brock, Allison, back to you.
Well, from one impressive running back right back to another, as once again it's Dillon. 2 yards shy of a first down. Bradley Chubb made the tackle.
You know what he reminds me of is James Conner, and a little more fluid. 10'6", 10'7", 100-meter guy, 240 pounds, was a big-time recruit. Actually, Harbaugh, Michigan was all over him before he got hurt his senior year. He turned his attention to BC, and what a difference maker for a program. An elite, powerful running back like that can be.
3rd down and 2, and now they'll spread things out. Travis Levy, another true freshman running back, slot receiver to the right. Brown extending the play, and he loses the football. Covered up by Tommy Sweeney, the tight end. Now a decision for Steve Adazio. 4th down and 4 at the NC State 41. You go for it?
No, you got to punt this. I think you've got to make this NC State team drive the length of the field. And you could see some of Adazio's frustration. You run that play with the hopes of just throwing it away. That you're in a 3rd and 2. You know what? If it's 4th and 2, 4th and 1, different discussion than 4th and 4. That's a pick. That's a little fumble there. That's a redshirt freshman quarterback right now that's out of the rhythm he was in before the bye week.
Mike Knowles so far this season, 60 punts, 27 of those killed inside the 20-yard line. This comes off sideways, looking like a Brock Ewart pitching wedge down to about the 11-yard line.
Whatever it takes.
It's not how, it's how many, right? It's Brock's theory.
Not how pretty, how effective.
Steve Adazio took over as the head coach at BC back in 2013. 7-6 and 2 bowl appearances his first 2 years. Then a struggle in 2015. 3-9 overall, no ACC wins, but last year back to 7-6 and a bowl win for the first time since 2007. Now a 3-game win streak where they've scored 35 points or more in 3 straight games for the first time since 2002, and he thinks he has a nucleus, especially offensively, Brock, that will flip the program. There's Nyheim Hines on 1st down, and he will gain a yard, maybe. John Lamont Ray Smith there to combine on the tackle.
There's another freshman, redshirt freshman in Lamont, a middle linebacker that's filling in for a couple injured guys early this season, and I like the way Adazio put it to us yesterday. He said, we're like an annuity. It is going to pay dividends. All these freshmen playing and now finally tasting a little bit of success over the last month of the season. And this would be a big step forward against a senior-laden NC State team in the top 25. They can find a way to get it done.
Finley from the pocket, a check down. Lewis shakes and bakes his way across the 15, and it will be 3rd down and 5 for NC State.
It's a big play, field position-wise, right here. I'll tell you what BC does. You see Schwab, he's coming up hobbling, and that is not good for a linebacking core that's been beat up. They are just sound defensively, and I know you hear that term a lot, and it sounds like coach speak, but they just do not bust assignments. They do not bust coverages, and you've got to go out and earn it, especially in these downs and distances.
Nickel group on the field for Boston College. 5 defensive backs, 3rd down and 5. They bring a blitz. Finley, one-on-one down the sideline. Incomplete. Good coverage by Isaac Yiadom as Kelvin Harmon was the intended receiver.
And there's no annuity about these two corners. They are certified studs right now. Yiadom is a 6'1" corner. He's played a ton of football. He plays it perfectly. He uses the boundary to his advantage. He times up that jump when the receiver's hands go up. His hand goes in between to separate exactly what you'd expect. Cam Moore on the other side. 2 seniors, awfully difficult to beat man coverage.
24th career pass defense for Yiadom. And it should be good field position for Boston College as the punt will roll dead at about the BC 44-yard line. Only a 39-yard punt. Boston College has already lost Connor Strahan and Max Richardson, 2 starting linebackers for the season, and now Ty Schwab getting worked on the sideline. Left ankle gets rolled up on a couple of plays ago, so we'll keep our eyes on him. A.J. Dillon. Good field position for BC. Can they take advantage of it? A gain of 2.5 on 1st down.
You were right in the go zone here if you want to run one of those jet sweeps. Jeff Smith, wide receiver, former quarterback. One of the better throwing wide receivers you're going to find in college football. I was watching their walkthrough yesterday. They've got plenty of those gadgets to go to here. It's kind of the area of the field coordinators typically like to call them as well.
They're going to get another snap off before the end of the quarter, it looks like. Here's a gadget play. Reverse to Walker, back to Anthony Brown, and a check down. It's Travis Levy, the running back, to the 35-yard line. And that should take us to the end of the 1st quarter as a gadget play picks up 18. Boston College and NC State scoreless as we head to the 2nd. Taco Bell is a proud partner of the College Football Playoff. Be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like these at games all season long. There was a time back with leather helmets worn by the players where I was in that student section here at Boston College. Great field position. A.J. Dillon dragging tacklers for 3 yards to the NC State 33.
And he is a powerful kid. You saw the stiff arm earlier. Well, he did that against Louisville on his 70-yard run. He just throws people out of the way. I don't know where you tackle him. I don't know if you want to tackle those legs. If you tackle up top, you're going to go for a ride. If you come in soft, he's going to stiff arm. Talented kid. As are these tight ends. In this area of the field, they love play action to their tight ends.
Dillon again, turns the corner. Speed down the sideline to the 22-yard line of Boston College 1st down.
There's an excellent job by those edge players. We've seen this a couple times. The most success in this run game has come on the perimeter. Run away from the big hogs. You got 4 senior D linemen. They average 300 pounds amongst this group right here. Run away from them. Get outside on the perimeter. But to do so, you have got to seal the edge. An excellent job there by Garrison, the tight end, to do so.
And look at the improvement in rushing yards and also getting the job done outside the tackles during this 3-game win streak for Boston College. Not much there that time as Jermaine Pratt stood up A.J. Dillon, who, by the way, if he hits 79 yards rushing today, will set a new BC freshman rushing record.
He may get to 1,000 today as well.
He's got 69 yards already, so he's going to blow past the Montel Harris freshman rushing record of 920 yards back in 2008.
Watch these tight ends in play action if they get the look they want.
Play action. John Hilliman can't hold on at the 20-yard line. So now it becomes 3rd down and 8.
That was a good job. They wanted to go to the tight end on the 15-yard in route. It was covered, good pocket around him. And unlike that interception earlier into the end zone, willing to throw underneath.
Now A.J. Dillon's still on the sideline. Hilliman was in the game at running back. They never throw the ball to A.J. Dillon. How much
that's got to change
of a weapon taken off the field is that you can't throw it to your best offensive player?
How much of a tendency on the other side knowing that as well?
He has 0 receptions this year. Play clock at 5. Brown straight back. Out of the pocket. To the 15. Stutter steps and goes down. And did he get hurt? He's reaching back. He is hurt. It looked like he was reaching towards his knee as he stutter stepped and lost his footing. And this would be a devastating injury for Boston College. Darius Wade is going to start warming up over on the sideline as Anthony Brown is down. It's also a 4th down decision for Boston College. It's 4th and 1. The right knee buckles, an awkward landing, and a non-contact injury. We'll see if Anthony Brown can get up to his feet when we come back. At least at first blush, the news not good for Anthony Brown. As he was helped off the field, he couldn't put any weight on his right leg at all. And that is a young man in considerable pain. Non-contact knee injury. That sets up 4th down and 1 with Darius Wade now in at quarterback. Hilliman the tailback, and they'll try and run it. Hilliman, it's a pop pass. Trick play broken up. Darius Moorhead knocked it away from Chris Garrison, and Boston College will turn it over on downs on 4th and 1.
That is a gutsy call there. And I'll tell you, I liked the trick play earlier because there were plenty of options. This play for Hilliman, not used to having the ball in his hands often. That's an awful lot of risk on 4th down that doesn't pay dividends.
College football on ABC, presented by K Jewelers, is brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites, and Pacific Life. Experience the power of Pacific.
Mental Rep is a software program helping football teams win by making the game virtual. We simulate the X's and O's you find in a standard football playbook on a desktop or mobile device. We enable athletes to practice in a safe, virtual environment by giving them complete control of their figure while everything else moves around them. After each rep, the software gives them real-time coaching feedback like a coach in their pocket. This information is then sent back to the actual coaches so they know where to focus at practice the next day.
Reggie Gillespie with a 1st down carry for NC State. Spins all the way out to about the 31-yard line after BC got stopped on downs. We're back to Harris Williams, former BC offensive lineman there for a second. That's the Mental Rep app that he has created along with a partner, a virtual way for players to learn their playbooks while they're walking across campus with their smartphone. Another 1st down run, and this time it's a tackle for loss as John Lamont comes through to make the stop. Brock, you took a look at the technology involved with that app. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it is unique. I think we're moving in this day and age of the less reps on the field, the less contact, and the more mental reps, the better. I think it will be a challenge to try to get the content week in and week out from different schools and all of those game plans. But I'll say this as well, virtual reality or on the computers or wherever you have it, that 4th and 1 call, ditch that one. I don't think you're going to see that one again.
Naeem Hines, counter to the outside. Makes a move in the open field and has a 1st down. Out to the 44-yard line. Back to Cassidy.
Thanks, Bob. Jersey Mike's a performance above Duke, visiting 7-2 Army, and the Blue Devils punting here deflected. Javari Bordeaux picks it up and scores from 25 yards out. Army up 14-3 on this Veterans Day. Bob, Brock, back to you.
There's an eye-opening score. The Black Knights with a 2-score lead. Ryan Finley, long throw outside, and it's incomplete. Intended for Stephon Lewis, broken up by Cameron Moore.
Oh, he's good.
And he's hurt. Cameron Moore with his left arm not moving at all. Boy, in back-to-back series for Boston College to lose arguably their best corner and their starting quarterback. Let's see if Moore can get up and make his way back in the game. That right wrist got caught underneath Stephon Lewis.
It's one of the better quarters we have studied this season as well. He is a senior, and he has been all over it. And those plays, those have been completions for Finley in this offense. I mean, that's a comeback that's thrown on time, that's thrown to where it's supposed to go, but that is a Cameron Moore who's done his homework, who jumps that route and forces the incompletion.
So replaced by a sophomore, Hamp Cheevers. 2nd down and 10. Down the sideline. A 1st down and then some for NC State to the Boston College 35-yard line. Lucas Dennis bumped him out, but that's a 20-yard pickup.
Well, and that's a really nice job again by the center. Both the last 2 runs, Garrett Bradbury, the offensive center here for NC State, one of the more athletic guys playing the position in college football, and as much outside perimeter run. He was a guard a season ago. You just don't see centers. In fact, on the last counter, he counterstepped because at times he is too fast out in front. That time getting to the 2nd level and freeing up a Hines, who looks a whole lot differently off that ankle injury at Notre Dame than he has the last 2 weeks.
Jacoby Myers, wide receiver, set up to take the Wildcat snap, and he'll try and beat BC to the edge on a keeper. 2-yard gain. Lucas Dennis, another tackle.
Lots of this good perimeter run, and Dennis making tackles, Will Harris making tackles. You know what that is going to mean for Finley. It is going to mean faking that run and getting those safeties to take a step or 2 and still get that chunk play action pass play down the field. Something they wanted to do. They wanted to attack it, be aggressive offensively. Unable in a 1/4 to really get that going.
Even with the aggression of their offense at times, they play clean. Only 6 giveaways this season. They and Wake Forest tied for 2nd fewest in FBS, 1 behind Alabama. 2nd and 7. Hines straight ahead run. Grabbed around the ankles and dropped. Zach Allen penetrates again. And now it will be 3rd down and about 7.
Yeah, and it was Lamont as well. Lamont's a good little linebacker. Zach Allen collapses the edge. Lamont, the freshman, playing because of injuries ahead of him, and he has been right on the line of scrimmage.
3rd down and a long 6, close to 7 for NC State.
I would attack the new corner on the field.
That's at the bottom of your screen, number 4 in maroon and gold, Hamp Cheevers, replacing Cameron Moore. Finley, well protected, underthrown, scooped up, Kelvin Harmon, and it looks like they'll give him the catch. Boston College's sideline says he tracked it, but as things stand now, that's a 3rd down reception. That looks like it hit the ground.
See that little ricochet movement.
And a fist pump from Steve Adazio.
Ruling on the field is a completed pass. That ruling is under further review.
So replay buzzed down in plenty of time, as it looked like they took one look and realized that was worthy of another look.
He is fighting to get his hands underneath the football here. And he knows it. Finley underthrows, a little pressure in his face. Good line stump by BC. Gets the people in the face of Finley. He does not step and finish that throw.
It looks like that's on the ground.
His hand underneath it. Does that left hand get underneath? I think you're right. I think this is that ball skipping up. We've had a few of these this year, and it's always fun to talk to the replay guys during, after the game. And at times it can be the pellet that they saw. We had one earlier this year, I remember vividly, that came in as a spiral, went into the hands as a wobbler. And that was the real emphasis from the replay booth that nope, that's going to change direction like that. It's going to change from a spiral to a duck because of that contact with the ground. This is one of the harder, as replay guys will tell you, this is one of the harder replays they have. Not targeting, not plays out of bounds. It is these catch, no catch at this level and the next level as well.
And a very important call. This is the difference between 4th down and 6.5, close to 7, and an NC State first down. Here's the ruling.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
That's going to draw the ire of the fans here at Chestnut Hill.
But you know what, that call and that initial call is critical. And we've seen this. I mean, when we sat in the replay booth with 600 of them 2 years ago, Bob, this would have been 50-50 or 60-40 or 70-30. And that is where you point to that initial call on the field, and they're going to say that left hand is underneath it. If there's not the skip, that there's not the pellets, it just, you know, if that is called incomplete, it would have stood as incomplete.
That shows how important the precedent set on the field is. It has to be indisputable evidence to overturn it. So it's a first down reception and a big break for NC State. Bootleg play action for Finley. Looking back, lobs one at the goal line. Almost intercepted. Lucas Dennis had the best chance at the football intended for Cole Cook.
Both teams have really tried to attack the safeties and the discipline of the group on the back end, and both BC and NC State. NC State on the 4th down, a wonderful play by their safety. Jarius Moorhead, he didn't bite that time. You see Dennis, we've seen Harris, just not biting on the double moves, not biting on the deep play action pass. Well coached.
That's Jalen Samuels in motion across the ball, and a little pop pass, and he'll try and turn the corner. Into the red zone, out of bounds, brings up another important 3rd down after a gain of 4. Will Harris made the stop, so the 11th play of this drive for NC State finally gets them inside the red zone, but they're faced with 3rd down and 5. Ryan Finley, protected, delivers a strike that's broken up. And there's Hamp Cheevers, the backup corner. They tested him, and he passed the test. And it's going to be a field goal attempt for Kyle Bambar.
That is such a good play. That is a backup coming in for a senior that spent his time watching how the senior does his craft. And not go through the body at all on that play. And just come around with that left hand and knock it away. Well done.
So Bambard made from about 49, but then a delay of game penalty wiped away his make. Missed from 54. This one from 36 to try and break the ice. And that stays wide right. We're still scoreless midway through the 2nd quarter. Not for a lack of scoring opportunities for both teams, but still goose eggs on the board.
Kickers.
Bob Wischusen and Brock Ewart, Allison Williams. And the Aflac trivia question. A.J. Dillon's 272 rushing yards on October 14th at Louisville were the 3rd most in a single game in BC history. Who owns the school record? Have that answer coming up. BC's had some pretty good running backs over the years as they start at their own 20-yard line. And this play comes apart at the seams right at the start as Darius Wade, the backup quarterback, in there. Brock with a true freshman center, Ben Petrula.
He is, and welcome to life now as the game speeds up. Now it's John Phillips, the right guard, that steps on your foot. I mean, just all the little things, the cadence, getting the snap count, getting out away from center. All those reps that you don't necessarily get at practice.
Jet sweep. That's Smith. Close to the 30-yard line.
Well, yeah, guys, I mean, Ben Petrula took over at center after Boston College lost their 2 centers. He never even played the position in high school, so he really had to learn on the fly. And he spent a ton of time working with Anthony Brown. Every free moment, they worked on that center quarterback exchange, so you wonder how much he's worked with Wade.
Well, that time a clean snap, and Dillon tries to move the pile, and it looks like he does for a BC first down.
And that's the play you're going to see on 4th and 1. I mean, that's the play that I think you were clamoring for, and Steve Adazio, if he had to do it over down in the red zone where he turned down the opportunity to kick a field goal, give it to your battering ram.
Especially with your backup quarterback in the game now, you wonder if this is just a heavy dose of A.J. Dillon the rest of the day for BC. Play action, though, this time for Wade. On the move. He'll tuck it under and pick up what he can. 3 yards on the scramble. Darius Moore, Darian Roseborough combine on the tackle.
Now, Wade is a senior. He has played some football. So you're not looking at the guy that's unfamiliar with this program. He just got beat out by the more dynamic Brown. But here's his opportunity as a senior that he's been waiting for an awfully long time.
There's a lane down the sideline for A.J. Dillon. Another gear, and he's gone. That's a Boston College touchdown.
And this has been the bugaboo for NC State this season. In every single game, Notre Dame got a big play, a big touchdown run. Clemson a week ago, a big one. And oftentimes, it's just the second level of this defense. And take a look here at Tim Kid Glass. This was the matchup they wanted. Is he going to be aware? You see the double team on Chubb. Is he going to have the awareness, or does he just get lost? And a wonderful block here inside, sealing that lane. And you give the big 250-pounder that opportunity. And the safety in corner as well does not want to tackle. Stevens runs himself out of the play at 66 yards later. And that freshman record?
Blown away by A.J. Dillon. His 8th touchdown of the season. He's closing in on a 1,000-yard year as a freshman here at BC.
It's number 1 versus number 2 and number 4 versus number 5. One night, 2 blockbuster matchups.
That's a great night of college basketball, and sandwiched between those 2 great college basketball games, the latest reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings, the exclusive reveal on Tuesday night on ESPN. Boston College with a 7-0 lead over an NC State team that has lost back-to-back games. Naeem Hines cut down inside the 15-yard line. So now BC's got the lead and they have flipped the field. Allstate is proud to be a part of the team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds.
When you said revealed, you know what's revealed itself to me is this kid's awfully special. This is a program changer. When you've got a workhorse like A.J. Dillon, he's on his way now to 1,000 yards on this season. He didn't start this season. He wasn't their number 1 guy. But he has more than earned it over the course of the year.
Play action for Ryan Finley from his own 5-yard line. He's going to take a shot. Underthrown a bit. 50-50 ball, and it's broken up. Hamp Cheevers able to recover. Stephon Lewis had him beat, but Finley couldn't reach him.
And we've seen 4 or 5 of those. And those are contested catches. Those combat plays in that moment. This is the backup corner that's come in, and there is no fear. He has timed it up perfectly. And he's going to go and do exactly what his buddy Cameron Moore has taught him to do, and that is to go rip and to claw and to tear that big play away.
BC jumps in the neutral zone. Noah Merritt got a little aggressive.
Offside. Defense number 94. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That's the first Boston College penalty. 2nd down and 5 after the penalty. Finley fakes the pitch, and the quarterback's in the open field. Ryan Finley across the 50-yard line before he runs out at the BC 46, picked up 36.
Well, this is just a really well-designed and conceived play. Lots of pre-snap motion here. You see the unsung hero there, Cole Cook, 48. He sets the whole thing up, and it doesn't matter if you run a 4.9 40. You got green grass like that, perfectly executed in time. Finley's smart enough to get out of bounds.
Finley only had 94 yards rushing this season before that play.
Do they ever need that play? Just from an emotion standpoint, a momentum standpoint, being backed up into their own end. Huge explosive play.
Finley with the quick screen. Dylan Samuels lost the football. And that was an incomplete pass. BC looked to jump on top of the loose ball. Samuels never had it, and it was a forward pass. Will Harris was out there to contest.
Part of the reason he didn't have it is he's starting to look around. And we've now seen this. This is a reel. This is teaching tape for how you play fundamental defensive football. As Jim Reed, the guy who's done it a long time, who coordinates them, they're not out of position. And Samuels felt the pressure all around him, took his eye off of it, and drops it. Lots of check with me.
Play clock at 3. Ryan Finley with a fake, and now he's looking up the seam. And that was red. Will Harris jumped the route and contested Kelvin Harmon. Now after the long Ryan Finley run, it's 3rd down and 10.
That is yet again another play. You're trying to fake pitch that, trying to get those safeties to bite, but they're not. Kid from Choate, Will Harris is just too fundamentally sound. This is his buddy Dennis. The linebackers, 2nd and 3rd level, have played so good fundamentally. That is why they're pitching a shutout in the first half.
Remember, if NC State wins out and Clemson loses to Florida State, NC State can make it to the ACC championship game. A lot on the line. 3rd down and 10. Long throw, and it's looped in there for a 1st down to the true freshman, Emeka Amizi.
Finally a little bit of space. That's what Finley is thinking as he lets go of that one. Finally some separation. It took the true freshman on a post corner there on the backup Cheevers, and NC State finally delivers on 3rd down and gets a conversion.
And with tempo, here's Gillespie. Driving his way down to about the 22-yard line. 6 yards on 1st down. Now back to Ryan Finley for a second, Brock. As you said, spends 3 years at Boise State and graduates, but suffered an injury in 2015 to his ankle, redshirted, so when he transferred to NC State, he was a graduate transfer with 3 years of eligibility remaining, only a redshirt sophomore. So he still has room to grow as a quarterback, facing 2nd and 4 here. And he'll keep it once again. Run to the edge. Looks like he's about a yard shy of the 1st down, although that looks like a pretty friendly spot. Yeah, about a yard shy, so it'll be 3rd down and 1. But he is climbing on draft boards, is he not?
He is, and his coach came with him, Eli Drinkwitz, the offensive coordinator, and he really asked Finley to be tougher. Physically, mentally, emotionally, in every phase of it, to add some strength to his game. As you're going to see Big T, the left guard, Prescott, is actually down at the line, and this line has played together all season long. And sometimes that just shows up on a 3-yard run. Having the willingness to do that on the zone read. You're not going to be a dual threat quarterback, but you've at least got to give that threat to the defense, something Finley couldn't do a year ago, and it's grown this season.
Teron Prescott, as you said, part of an Ironman offensive line. The right tackle, Will Richardson. The left tackle, Tyler Jones. The right guard, Tony Adams. All 3 of those players have played every ACC snap, and the center, Garrett Bradbury, missed 6 snaps against Louisville. Those are the only 6 snaps in ACC play he has missed. So they've gone back and forth a bit at left guard, and that's where Prescott is down now. But that band of brothers up there, as they like to call themselves, they have very rarely been broken up for any plays this year.
And they do a lot of stuff, and you have seen that in this first half. There's a lot of offense in that playbook. And there's also a lot of that zone concept, the stretch, where guys have to work together and play together as one unit.
You guys were talking about how close this offensive line is. 4 of the 5 guys live together in a house that has a sign hanging in front that says protect the quarterback. They've got their dog Azul they all take care of. They are so close. And it was interesting to hear Eli Drinkwitz say that if it weren't for them coming together and being so close, what the effect would have been for Will Richardson. He said that kept him not only on this team, but it'll probably get him to the NFL in the future because it helped get his life back on track. Remember, he was suspended to begin the year. But this group really a close unit, and it shows on the field.
We've seen players get rolled up on. Ty Schwab, the linebacker for Boston College, got rolled up on. This just from the very beginning. Nicknamed him Big T, and you'll see here right off the snap, just favoring what looks like that left leg. Trying to get to the second level, he does so, and then he goes down, and we've not seen a move other than rolling him over. That'd be a fun house to hang out in. That's a lot. That's a lot of beef.
There's no question.
And I know I lived with some guys in college, and like figuring out the grocery bill was kind of an important deal on the scholarship check. And you've got 4 big linemen, all over 300 pounds, living together. Who's the accountant?
Well, as Allison said, they've got the banner in front that says protect the quarterback. They take that phrase very seriously. This is an offensive line that has not allowed a sack of Ryan Finley in ACC play. They've only allowed 10 sacks all season. 9 of those have been on Finley. But the 1 sack that was allowed in ACC play was not given up by an offensive lineman. So in conference play, that front 5, they haven't allowed Finley to be dropped once.
Yeah, and that's one of, I think you look at this 6-3 record, and that's one of the conversations of, man, you're so close. And in a year with so much continuity up front, with 4 senior D linemen, how many programs in college football have we seen over the years that have ever had 4 senior starters on the D line and then a whole group that comes in, a senior and 4 redshirt juniors on your O-line? It's hard to get that development and continuity.
Having said that, though, how many years have Pack fans back in Raleigh said that same thing this time of the year? Boy, we've got a lot of talent. Man, we're all over the NFL draft board. Boy, we're really close. And what do they, in the end, most seasons have to show for it? They're not competing for national championships. They're not competing for ACC championships. I think, at least in my opinion, Brock, with the amount of NFL talent, especially at quarterback that they've had over the last 15 years, this is a program that should win more and should have won more.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. It's a program under Dave Doran that has developed their players more than what I've seen over the last 15 or 20 years. These are grown men on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
The replay booth advanced the ball about a yard while we were in that injury timeout. And so it is a first down for NC State to the 18-yard line. Another trick play. End around to Jalen Samuels. Out of bounds. Inside the 15 to about the 12-yard line. That's a gain of 6 on first down. And this is the previous play as the replay booth gave Ryan Finley on the scramble the line to gain with that reach out of the football as he went out of bounds.
Had the time with the injury timeout to take a good look at that, and the ball comes across. That is a good call, but a favorable call to NC State.
Naeem Hines inside the 10-yard line gets walloped right about at the line to gain, but it looks like the official on the far side will run in and spot the ball inside the 8 after the hit by Isaac Yiadom, so it should be first and goal.
Not many corners love the contact and love to hit. I'll tell Deion Sanders that, but Yiadom sure does there.
First and goal, straight ahead, nothing there for Naeem Hines. Second and goal, Zach Allen, Noah Merritt combined on the BC stop.
60% on the season scoring touchdowns in the red zone. With as many weapons as they have and a quarterback and a good one, that number's low. That number's got to be 70 to 75% finishing off these drives. The 41st trip into the red zone, ample opportunities. You've got to find a way to get 7.
Wildcat for Jalen Samuels. He'll keep it himself. Breaks a tackle to the 5 at the pylon. Does he make it to the goal line? He does. That's a Pack touchdown. Jalen Samuels did just what Ryan Finley did. Reached the ball out at the last moment and snuck it inside the pylon for 6.
You know, we saw this on a 4th and 1 against Clemson a week ago, is just his patience. And how many guys in the fast flow of all that action going around, he stops. I mean, he stopped right between the tackles, and then he started again. And that's a confidence in your athleticism and your speed. That's trusting your instincts, and that's a big-time finish.
44th career touchdown for Jalen Samuels. Only 7 away from Ted Brown's all-time record of 51. And it looks like they are waiting for the confirmation that he snuck the ball inside the pylon, but looked like an excellent call by the official right near the goal line. And a really heads-up play by Jalen Samuels.
What a weapon. Quarterback, halfback, H-back, wide receiver. Fun to see where he fits on Sundays.
At least 1 reception in 38 consecutive games now. Longest streak at NC State's Jericho Cotchery back in the early 2000s. And now we're tied at 7. Today on ESPN, 2 big games with college football playoff implications. We'll start it off at 3:30. Death Valley, Florida State taking on number 4 Clemson. And then it's 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific in Starkville, number 2 Alabama on the road to take on number 16 Mississippi State. Both games streaming live on the ESPN app.
It's on the road tonight. On the road. That's really the theme of this weekend. TCU is out on the road. Notre Dame is out on the road. Alabama is out on the road. If you're going to be one of the 4 teams left standing, you have got to go out on the road in conference play and win. Something that Washington, a top 10 team, could not do last night. And Alabama is going to have to overcome some significant injuries. The second level of their defense, that linebacker position, been gutted by injuries to go out on the road and get it done.
We got the word Minkah Fitzpatrick is in line to play in that game for Alabama. Michael Walker is averaging about 24 yards per return this season. He's at the goal line and on a chilly, breezy day here at Chestnut Hill. Hard for a place kicker to reach the end zone on these kickoffs. And this one is going to be returnable again. About the 7. Walker runs up into his own blocker, may have lost the ball. Nope, just brought down at the 29-yard line. Time to answer our Aflac trivia question. A.J. Dillon's 272 rushing yards on October 14th in Louisville were the 3rd most in a single game in BC history. Who owns that record? Andre Williams, 339 yards against NC State back in 2013.
Dillon, a $137 already today on just 13 rushes. The one explosive play, a big part of it, but he has been a load to try to tackle.
Here he goes again, this time behind the line. Throws a tackler off, but is brought down after Dexter Wright got through first for a loss of 2.5.
Guys, Anthony Brown did return from the BC locker room to the sidelines on crutches with ice on that right knee. I asked him how he's doing. He said, I'm all right, but he won't know exactly what his injury is until after the game, but he said he wanted to come out here and be with his teammates.
Don't want to speculate, obviously, until the tests are done, but non-contact injury to the right knee, so he's done for the day. Wide receiver screen to Jeff Smith. He gets popped at the 32-yard line. 3rd down coming up after we check in with Cassidy.
Thanks, number 17, Virginia Tech, visiting Georgia Tech. And Taquan Marshall gets in for a 2nd rushing touchdown of the day. Virginia Tech did just tack on a touchdown, so it's 14-9 in the 2nd. Back to you guys.
All right, Cassidy, thanks very much. NC State calling a quick timeout. So with 1:40 to go before halftime, Boston College facing 3rd down and 6.5. Dave Doran not showing the BC offense much respect.
Well,
he thinks his defense got a chance to get a stop.
You got a backup quarterback, and that's also showing the confidence in your offensive guys. And you know, when you got Bradley Chubb going on the defensive side of the ball, there's some reason to believe he is just an animal. And it may not always show up on the stat sheet. In fact, this shows up as just a quarterback hurry, but it led to that early interception from Anthony Brown thrown into coverage. And yeah, this is just a double team, and I'm going to just take double team all the way to the perimeter, and I'm going to be a part of the tackle. Double team, triple team, move inside and outside. It's what you do with a dynamic player like Chubb.
And Chubb now rushing the quarterback on third down and hits the quarterback. The ball pops out, and NC State's got it. Right on cue, it's Bradley Chubb again. And Contavious Street comes up with the fumble recovery.
And that is no fault of an offensive scheme. They were planning, they're double teaming, you know, and this is a traditional rush from Chubb on Lindstrom. Running back, Hillman's trying to help out there with a little bit of a chip. It doesn't really help his tackle. I think almost that force then allows Chubb to get to the inside.
Ruling on the field of a fumble is under further review.
Just because of that motion of Darius Wade's arm coming forward, I guess that's going to trigger a review just to be sure. But that ball is out well before Darius Wade makes any type of forward throwing motion. So that should be a very quick confirmation of the fumble caused by Bradley Chubb. Give him another sack. #1 in the ACC in sacks and tackles for loss. And at ESPN, on ESPN.com, we made him our mid-season defensive player of the year. Smart choice.
There's a good one before him. He was the #1 draft pick in the NFL way back when. Mario Williams at 25.5 now, just one away. And through this first half, it's been run and pass, right? That's what I think I love about his game, and when I've got a chance to really watch him this week and watch his growth from a season ago, it is the relentless nature on every single play.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down.
Well, you asked Dave Doran in our meetings yesterday when we talked to the head coach of NC State for a comparable player. Ability-wise, motor-wise, effort-wise, he said J.J. Watt.
A different frame. JJ's going to be bigger, longer, play a little bit more on the inside of that defensive line. But as far as just hair on fire, as far as the guy that's leading the charge every day in practice, screaming, I love this stuff, I love this, I can't get enough of it. That's #9. This is an all check with me. Some zone coverage here. Going to play this conservatively as Finley's looking at it.
Naeem Hines looking for a cutback lane, and he is brought down. So Boston College's defense now has to deal with sudden change. NC State still with 1:23 and 2 timeouts. Screen behind the blitz, maybe intercepted off the tip. Ty Schwab scooped it up, and Boston College has their 14th interception of the season, tops in the ACC.
That was going to be a huge play. Again, a nice little wrinkle from Eli Drinkwitz, the offensive coordinator, trying to sneak a little screen pass out. Ty Schwab, he is all over it. And on a pass that is behind Hines, on those screen passes, you want to put it right in the belly of those running backs. You don't want them to extend their frame because there's going to be chaos all around them. If that ball is tipped, it can go any which way, and this time right into the hands of the senior Ty Schwab.
On senior day, his 3rd career interception for the leading tackler on this BC defense, and only the 4th pick this year for Ryan Finley. So Boston College has the football back. They still have a minute on the clock and 3 timeouts. Getting lassoed down on the play is A.J. Dillon. B.J. Hill made the tackle for the Wolfpack, and now Boston College in no hurry.
No, you're going to get the ball to begin the second half, and you're going to take 7-7 anytime. Their defense has played so hard, opportunistic with that takeaway. And we know that emotion going into and out of halftime, right? Emotion, kind of one of our big words of the day today. To begin this game, huge in the second half.
Wonder if Dave Doran will now take a timeout again as Dillon's brought down with 21 seconds, down to 20 seconds to go in the half. And NC State will finally call one of their 2 remaining timeouts before 3rd down. Our next top-ranked boxing event comes to you tonight. Fresno, California is the place. We'll have co-main events. Artur Beterbiev battles Enrico Colling for Andre Ward's vacated IBF light heavyweight belt. And Jose Carlos Ramirez in line for the WBO WBC junior welterweight title bout with Amir Imam, but he's got to get by Mike Reed first. 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific on ESPN and on the ESPN app. Top-ranked boxing later on tonight from Fresno.
How about a shout out to the best analyst in the biz, Grandpa Teddy Atlas, welcoming Joseph Atlas Fazio. Proud grandpa. And man, do I ever get a kick of just watching and listening to the emotion and the wisdom of a Teddy Atlas.
A couple of seconds went back on the clock for NC State. And Boston College will force the Wolfpack to use their final timeout here by running straight into the line. But NC State will at least force BC to try and punt it with 13 seconds to go in the half. So the challenge for Boston College now in a 7-7 tie is navigating their way through the rest of this game. With Darius Wade at quarterback, the grad senior replacing the redshirt freshman Anthony Brown. Allison's going to speak with Steve Adazio as soon as the first half is over. And if you stay with our halftime report, you will hear what the coach has to say about how he's going to try and maneuver through the second half with his backup quarterback.
He's going to say not a lot is going to change. We're going to have to get Darius out on the perimeter. Right, that's where you saw some success, where Anthony was good, mixing it up inside and outside, moving that NC State defense all the way around. Cannot become too one-dimensional.
That's Brock Ewart, and I'm Bob Wischusen. Allison Williams down on the field. There's Mike Knoll to punt, and it's blocked! And Knoll now scoops it up, and he's going to try and run, and he'll get out to the 18-yard line. But now NC State has a chance with 8 seconds to go in the half to at least try a field goal and steal 3 points before halftime as Darian Roseborough got the block.
And that is why you call your timeouts. Don't take them into halftime. You never know what is going to happen. You force the side, you force the other guys to execute. You see the big, long athletes of NC State getting into
Tyrone Riley got through as well.
Yeah, that is want to in that moment. Now remember how problematic NC State's kicking situation has been. Bench the starter from this season. In comes the backup, Kyle Bombard. We have seen him already miss 2 kicks today. It looks like he's going to get a third opportunity.
Now Dave Doran is not going to take the chance of his offense maybe eating up the entirety of the 8 remaining seconds by throwing it into the end zone.
This is above 10, you can do it, but I think you get to 10 and under with no timeouts. This is the smart play. You have got to try to pay off that block punt.
So 36 yards out for Bombard to try and steal 3 before halftime. Play clock down to 0. They're going to cost themselves 5 again. It took them so long in the transition between the blocked punt, getting a team off the field, getting the field goal unit on the field. It's another delay of game. So that's the second time that Bombard here in the first half has been backed up by a delay of game penalty before a field goal attempt.
And remember the 48-yarder he made in the delay of game. They backed it up to 53, wasn't close. Shanked his second opportunity. He made that one the first swing. He's now got to pay it off.
Now from 41. And now Boston College will call a timeout.
Timeout, Boston College.
You got another try.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
He's getting, it's like being on the practice range. He's getting practice shot after practice shot. And field goal kicking has been an adventure for both of these teams. Obviously for NC State, going back to Bombard missing that 33-yarder that could have beaten Clemson last season. Carson Wise made a season-high 48-yarder against Syracuse, but then missed 4 of his next 5. Gets benched, and here's Bombard again. Another timeout called.
Before the snap, timeout, Boston College. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Another warm-up try for Bombard, and that one was good.
And Dave Doran would play it the exact same way on the other side. I don't think he has any issue with this. When you've got a kicker that is struggling from the neck up, you want to make him think.
Let's see if Steve Adazio uses one more timeout here. And he will. Another warm-up try for Bambard. It's good again.
Timeout, Boston College. So their final timeout.
If nothing else, Kyle Bambard might be tired at this point. On the practice range, he's 4 for 5. For real, he's 0 for 2.
We know how that works.
Well, now BC's out of timeouts. So this one, no matter what, will finally be for real. And good for Kyle Bambard. Through all of that, knocks it right down the middle. And NC State gets 3 more. And they will take the lead with 3 seconds to go in the half.
Got to be the biggest smile of Doran in the last 3 weeks.
That's great.
Gonna put him on his shoulders. Kickers. Can't live with him. Can't live without him.
Well, for his career before that kick, Kyle Bambard was 13 of 27. So sub 50% as a field goal kicker before knocking that one through from 41 yards away.
In a game like this, those little details are so critical. To call those timeouts, you have the giveaway if you're NC State on the screen pass interception. Instead of hanging their head, their defense does their job, forces the 3 and out. And look at Chubb. Okay. Okay. Bob, that's what you were doing last night at the bar.
Yep. As soon as Brock Ewart shows up down in the bar and offers to buy a round, that is my standard reaction. That's my Brock Ewart's buying reaction.
You promise?
Yeah, well, because it's so rarely happened, I haven't had a chance to pull that move out.
You make that deal with me. We'll do it next weekend.
Oh, yeah.
You do that dance.
Memo to our entire crew, you're all in on this. So here's the kick, and it is going to be a pooch kick. That will be taken by Ben Glines, but down on one knee. So no opportunity for a return. Still 1 second on the clock. So NC State with a 10-7 lead. Boston College won the toss and deferred. So Brock, they'll start the third quarter with the football. What about a game plan offensively in the second half with the backup quarterback for BC?
Yeah, you're going to sit at halftime. You're going to get together if you're the entire offensive staff there, and you're going to try to figure out exactly what Darius is most comfortable with. Scott Loeffler is here. He's been here a couple years. Got a good offensive staff. And I think it is going to be quarterback movement. You have got to get him out on the edges. You got to continue to move this defense horizontally, because they showed in the first half they can give up that crease, that big play, that big explosion play. He's going to have to find a few more of those in the second half.
NC State defense and their special teams, though, steals 3 before halftime. They've got the 10-7 lead over Boston College. The halftime studio report after this break.
You're watching Veterans Week coverage on ESPN, brought to you by USAA.
Welcome back to college football presented by Kay Jewelers. As part of Veterans Week, brought to you by USAA, it is the ACC on ABC. And we're just about set for the start of the third quarter. NC State, a late field goal off a punt block. And they've got the 10-7 lead as we take a look at our first half stats, brought to you by Dell.
Love the 17 carries, over 130 yards for A.J. Dillon. He's a difference maker for BC. And now without their quarterback, Anthony Brown, a significant lower leg knee injury there in the first half. You're going to see more of A.J. Dillon. I think the 2 best players, we were just talking about that, the 2 best players on each of these respective teams showed up in the first half. For Bradley Chubb, the NFL guys are upstairs, right? He's going to be a top 10 pick. He forced the 2 takeaways, the sack fumble, the pressure to force the interception in the end zone. And then A.J. Dillon on the other side is so darn explosive and difficult to tackle. And which star shines brightest in the second half? Probably going to win this game.
That's Brock Ewart. I'm Bob Wischusen. Allison Williams is down on the field. Boston College now playing the second half as well without their quarterback as they lose Anthony Brown to a non-contact knee injury. No official diagnosis of yet, but we know he's done for the rest of today. How do they massage their way through this game?
Well, we heard from Steve Adazio talking to Allison going in, and you just can't change the game plan, but you've got to get to the strengths of the backup quarterback, and you got to continue to play the strengths of your team, and that is going to be the run game.
Fumbling the football on the return is Walker, and he picks it up and ends up getting driven back at his own 18-yard line as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary to this point. took a look at some of those more important numbers at halftime, and BC, they have to find a way to keep A.J. Dillon going,
They
don't
do.
they?
In every play, he finds an explosive play. 240 pounds, 600 meters. He can just get up and go if he has that grease. And Bradley Chubb, well, he defeats guards, centers, double teams, a chipping running back there. It just really doesn't matter. The only way you're going to combat him is to try to run at him in that perimeter run game that found some success in the first half.
So the backup, Darius Wade at quarterback, Boston College.
False start. Offense number 75. 5-yard penalty. First down.
They are the least penalized team in FBS. That is their second penalty today. They average less than 4 per game, which is third fewest, for only 31 yards per game, which is the fewest. So they don't shoot themselves in the foot often.
Bradley Chubb's in front of you. You can try to get started a little faster.
Straight ahead handoff to Dillon. Second down and long, Allison.
Well, guys, NC State head coach Dave Dorn, glad to see his kicker Kyle Bambard make the field goal that counted at the end of the half there, and happy to see him make some of those practice kicks as well to give him some confidence here in the second half. The key for NC State, though, defensively, they have to find a way to stop the run. He said BC went to it early and often expects more of the same here in the second half, and they have to make sure they get lined up correctly. That's the key for them when it comes to stopping that run.
Can Boston College at some point loosen up this NC State defense by letting Darius Wade throw the football? And keep it on the ground up. Well, it's a play action rollout for Wade. Looking downfield to the sideline. Coming back to help out the quarterback is Jeff Smith. And that should be good for a first down out to the 29.
That's just a heads-up play from the former quarterback that has his eyes in the backfield. And he comes back, he breaks off his clear route. And excellent throw there. That's a confidence builder coming out in the second half. You've got to find completions when you're the backup. You're the senior, thrust into duty because of the injury to the starter. That's a good start.
Toss to A.J. Dillon. Looking for room and finding some. Muscles his way for a first down. Well, that should help out the quarterback, Darius Wade, because Brock, he did pay his dues. He was a freshman backup when he first arrived at BC. His sophomore season starts 3 games, then suffers a season-ending ankle injury against Florida State. Last year lost the job to Patrick Towles. This year lost the job to Anthony Brown, but never thought about transferring. Now he finally gets a chance to play some meaningful snaps here. Another handoff, nowhere to go for Dillon, maybe a yard.
And you still have to jab. Right, you're going to throw your haymakers outside, the toss sweep, the edge run, try to get into some funky formations. Dave Dorn saying that was the real issue on the one explosive play, a misalignment there, eyes getting lost. But in order to make those perimeter plays effective, you do have to still go to the body. I like that willingness to do so in the early downs.
Play action fake. Wade slips one to the flat, and he finds his tight end Tommy Sweeney right to midfield. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Get out on the edge. And that's, I guess, a good thing with Darius when you look at his skill set and Anthony Brown. They're both athletic guys. They throw on the run well. You know, the sack fumble earlier, I don't think sitting in the pocket, reading and evaluating is going to be best case. Get on the move, react, make plays on the perimeter.
A.J. Dillon, the lone setback. 3rd down, and he spins for a first down. When A.J. Dillon was a senior in high school, he had 600 yards and 12 touchdowns in 4 games, and then suffered a season-ending leg injury. 600 yards, 12 touchdowns in 4 games. It's pretty good. It's another try. Submarines his way to the 41-yard line for 4 more. It'll be 3rd and 5. Check that second.
That's winning football. And this is a winning drive. This is exactly what you want to do. Steve Adazio saying coming into and out of halftime, you know, we just got to settle down. Continue to trust this game plan. This is exactly what it was going to look like with Brown. It was going to be heavy run, and they're continuing it.
And now it's 3rd down and about a half yard to go. Another carry by A.J. Dillon, just about to the line to gain. It's actually closer than I thought. They're going to bring the chains out, I think, and measure. No, they say without measurement, they give A.J. Dillon a first down.
Well, here you go. And this is heavy run, heavy run, heavy run. A couple little play passes. Again, the area of the field, if you've got a little concept here to the tight end, if you've got a little double pass, if you've got something, and I know it's a new quarterback in, this is the area of the field you like to attack.
Play action for Wade. Under pressure and hit. Guess who? Chris Lindstrom just couldn't slow down Bradley Chubb, who gets another big tackle for loss and a sack.
And they tried, and you know, that's exactly where they were going to go. They were going to try to get a little double move here, a little slant and go outside. It just takes too much time. And we sat with Chris Lindstrom yesterday, and we talked through the multitude of moves. I said, you feel like a batter with a pitcher? You just got to learn all the different stuff? He said, yeah, in some ways. But not many pitchers are 285, run 4.6, and can blow you up physically the way Chubb can.
2nd and 17 after the sack by Chubb. Wide receiver screen, bobbled, held on to by Kobe White. He has been quiet today. He loses yardage, and now it's 3rd down and a mile.
There you go. And we had a sense this could happen today. You feel horrible that Anthony Brown took a significant injury and is out of this game. And now you've got a backup in that's got to try to get his clock right. And all the while, he's going to be looking around for where number 9 is. The sack fumble, the sack that destroyed that 1st down play and puts him in 3rd and way behind the chains. Lindstrom's their best offensive lineman. I mean, this is no fault of his. He's going to work and he is going to battle, but you're playing one of the best at that craft in college football.
3rd and 21 after back-to-back negative plays. Wade. He's going to go down again. Jared Fernandez gets there, but again, it's Bradley Chubb helping to collapse the pocket.
That's either a sack or a half sack, and you're looking at the best sacker now in the history of the Wolfpack. And that's, you just can't have that. That is a running back in Hilleman. That is a missed assignment there. That is not the way that Steven Adazio, Scott Loeffler are going to drop any protection plan to leave Hilleman on Chubb. That is a non-starter.
So Mike Knoll to punt. Boston College had a 1st down at the 36-yard line of NC State. Now they're punting from their side of the 50, but a flag down, and it looks like it was Chubb all over the punter, Mike Knoll. Just running into the kicker. And it does not look like this will be a personal foul that will allow Boston College to keep the ball.
Conversation here. Let's go.
Looking over to Steve Adazio, who still can't seem to be, I guess, set to make a decision as to how he wants this penalty administered. He wants to take a look and see where the ball was downed.
Running into the kicker, defense number 9. Penalty decline, 1st down.
So they're going to take the punt down to the 22-yard line of NC State after all that. And it is officially a new school record for Bradley Chubb. Not bad when you pass up the former #1 overall pick in the NFL draft and Mario Williams. 26 career sacks for Bradley Chubb. And not bad field position on the exchange for NC State at their own 22. Nyheim Hines, no gain on 1st down. Ray Smith made the stop. Oh, maybe a yard. 2nd down and 9 for NC State.
And not bad effort from this defensive group for Boston College. That's one of the worst halves that Finley has had all season. Just 6 of 18 with a pick, 70 yards passing. You've seen a combative secondary that's played excellent coverage out on the perimeter and has made it hard yards between the tackles.
BC brings a blitz. Thrown right behind it is Finley, looking for Kelvin Harmon, and threw it behind Harmon. So now it's 3rd down and 9.
Just a little bit off. The screen pass, just a little bit off. This little shallow cross, you can see the blitzer coming right in the face, just a little bit off. Could that be caught? Yes. Yes, but you got to put that ball out in front for a catch and run and 1st down.
Finley hasn't been as sharp today as in other games where you watched him on tape.
And I think a lot of that is the coverage. It's these perimeter people. It is the tight coverage on the outside by Boston College. It is just The window's really, really small.
Five-man rush again. Finley over the middle. That one is thrown perfectly to Jalen Samuels. Just enough for a first down on 3rd down and 9.
New term I learned yesterday, Eli Drinkwitz. I thought I heard every football quarterback term there ever was in mankind. And he said, no, we want to squeeze it. I said, what do you mean by squeeze it? Well, that was exactly it. When that pocket is tight around you, squeeze the ball. Don't run into trouble. Don't climb into even more danger in the pocket. Squeeze the football and be willing to get to the 2nd and 3rd progression, which is exactly what you saw from Finley on that critical 3rd down conversion.
How polished is his game? If you were a next level evaluator and you were thinking about him as a draft prospect, what would you think?
I just love the under center. I love the gun. I love the audibles. I love so much of what they're doing. The intermediate passing game, there is so much more to evaluate in his game. And a lot of the kids in college football come out of very different systems.
4-man rush. He's going to put one with some air under it right down the middle of the field, well overthrowing Jacoby Myers. So another 3rd down now for NC State, 3rd down at 6.
And there's been nobody there. I mean, the 2 safeties here for Boston College, Dennis and Harris, they have matched, and David Dorr knows it. They have tested them time and again, trying to get those aggressive shots down the field. They just can't find the coverage. That's testament to Harris, Dennis, Yaida, Moore, Cheevers, even the backup corner have all done an excellent job.
Another Boston College blitz. Long throw on time. Kelvin Harmon. He's got a first down with a flag down on the near side of the field. This one's going to go against Boston College.
Offside, defense number 2. Penalties declined, first down.
And that is back-to-back 3rd down conversions. That's just lined up in the neutral zone. Adazio going to give that side judge an earful. Just going to be, I believe, right here or here, that helmet into the neutral zone. It wouldn't matter. Better 3rd down conversion. That's now back-to-back occasions, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 6, where you're thrown into the teeth of some of that coverage. Finding a way to be effective.
Wildcat Jalen Samuels lined up to take the direct snap. But a timeout was called by NC State from the sideline. 6:45 to go in the 3rd. NC State driving with a 3-point lead.
College football on ABC, presented by K Jewelers, is brought to you by USAA. Show your appreciation this Veterans Day using #HonorThroughAction. And Audi.
In honor of Veterans Day, yesterday, Boston College celebrated their annual 17th Veterans Remembrance Mass, where they look back and pay tribute to all of the BC alums who have lost their lives serving our country.
Awesome.
Bob Wischusen, Brock Ewart, Allison Williams, the rest of our crew, of course, thanking all of our heroes as we think of all of you this weekend serving our country abroad and here at home. NC State with a 3-point lead over BC. 1st and 10 after the timeout. And instead of the Wildcat, Ryan Finley lines up in the pistol with Nyheim Hines as the tailback. There goes Samuels in motion. They'll run the option again, and there's a lane for Finley. He gets to the BC 43-yard line. Brings up 2nd down.
I'll tell you the one thing that he has learned is to protect himself. When you asked me earlier about his skill set and where he's at, and to take 3 sacks in the last 7 games speaks to him, I think, getting the ball out. And just that play. To know that he's not a guy that's going to want to take on Ty Schwab or these safeties or anything. Get 4 yards, get down. You don't have to be a hero. You can show your toughness by being available and durable every week.
Another blitz from Boston College. Back shoulder throw. Making the adjustment. Kelvin Harmon working on Isaac Yiadom.
Well, that's just big time. And the Idem's a guy that's going to get some serious looks because of his size and speed, and they have been all over these receivers. So what do? Instead of running these comebacks or these curl routes that they're going to jump on, that's what you go to. That's the NFL stuff. All right, you got me covered. You think you got me covered on this go route? The perfect pass is going to beat it, especially with a big physical receiver like Harmon. 5 100-yard games on the season. That will help if he's got any shot today to get to that mark.
He's up to 64 yards on 4 catches today. There goes Jalen Samuels in motion again. Instead, they give it to Hines. BC stays home. Another tackle for Zach Allen. Notre Dame, Miami tonight. ABC, 8 Eastern. Who do you like?
I mean, I've doubted Miami because of the offensive line, and I really thought Virginia Tech would get after them, but they've responded. And as we have seen in college football, to go on the road is so hard to do. I'm not going to doubt Miami again.
BC looking for a flag. That ball batted down by Zach Allen. It looked like a staggered start that could have been a false start called against the offensive front for NC State, but BC gets a pass defense by Allen.
Yeah, frankly, it should have been, and that one was nearly a should have been interception. Allen, like so many of his buddies around them, they've just not bought the fakes. I mean, they have just been right where they're supposed to be. He does everything right, just couldn't quite squeeze what would have been a huge second interception for BC.
3rd down and 10. Of course, Boston College without their pass rushing specialist, Harold Landry, out with an ankle injury. We've seen Bradley Chubb greatly impact today's game. BC just doesn't have their star available, and now looks like a timeout will be called by the BC defense.
Timeout, Boston College.
A big 3rd down when we come back to Alumni Stadium. Welcome back to college football, presented by Kay Jewelers as part of Veterans Week, brought to you by USAA. Bob Wischusen, Brock Hewitt, Allison Williams, Chestnut Hill. Boston College has forced 3rd down and 10. NC State knocking on the door of the red zone with a 3-point lead. Ryan Finley, another blitz on the way. He's flushed out of the pocket. Down the sideline, incomplete for Samuels. BC gets a stop, and now here comes Kyle Bambard, who Brock already has missed a couple before making one before halftime.
Yeah, the 53 was out of his range. Felt like it could be wind-aided at the back, and then this short miss. And a lot of nervous energy on that sideline. Steve Dazio called a number of timeouts before half. Chubb loved it. Got the points after paying off the block punt. Head coach loved it, carried him on his shoulders. And we'll see if Kyle can deliver again.
Now to stretch the lead to a touchdown with 4.5 minutes to go in the 3rd from 37. Hit the upright. Another miss from Bambard. And BC down by only 3 with the football. 4:34 to go in the 3rd quarter.
No dancing from Chubb. Big points now. Going to make for some big decisions more than likely in the final 15 minutes.
Today on ESPN, 2 big games with college football playoff implications. Florida State, they'll be trying to help out NC State when they take on Clemson at 3:30 Eastern, and number 2 Alabama taking on 16th ranked Mississippi State. As Dillon starts off this drive for Boston College with a few yards. Jermaine Pratt made the stop. Starkville, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on the kickoff for Alabama, Mississippi State. Of course, all these games are streaming live on the ESPN app. Darius Wade, a play action fake and a rollout to the sideline. That's incomplete through the hands of Ray Martin. So it will be 3rd down and 6 for Boston College.
Yeah, and this is danger zone. And whatever I do, I cannot allow Bradley Chubb to just defeat me single-handedly. And whatever I've got to do in protections, whatever I've got to do, and you've seen it, I think, there a little bit. You try to run at him, you get out of the pocket. He has been the game wrecker today for Boston College.
Lined up at right defensive end, but now he shifts. Boy, they use him in a lot of different ways, don't they? And now he comes right up the middle. Check down, short of the first down. So Boston College will go 3 downs and out as Charlie Callanan makes the catch, but had no chance to get to the 30-yard line, and BC will kick it back to NC State.
I'll tell you one of the things I think I love the most, and I'm sure Dave Doran is going to say this to everybody that comes through the doors, already has. And I know he had some fun and went over the top with Towelgate last week and everything, but he has so much fun. I mean, he loves playing this game, and when you can find guys that love playing it, man, those are the ones you want to add to your team.
Rugby-style kick from Knoll will take a Boston College hop inside the 30-yard line. And rolls dead about the 28. Allison?
Well, we've come to know Bradley Chubb and the entire Chubb family because of their dominance on the football field. But this is a family whose roots go back to Chubbtown, Georgia, a community founded in the late 1800s by free African Americans and endured through the Civil War. And Bradley took a trip back there this summer to visit his grandfather's grave. He said there isn't much there. It's basically a church and a creek in the cemetery. He said there is an undeniable feeling, though. He said when I'm there, I can feel the sense of history, what my family had to do and overcome. And then, of course, visiting his grandfather Aaron's grave, who we should point out on this Veterans Day did serve in Vietnam, an Army Specialist 4th class.
That's an amazing story. Naeem Hines looking for some running room and eventually hunting and pecking his way for about 3 yards. But how about having that much concrete knowledge about your family's history and knowing that kind of changed history in the state of Georgia?
Yeah. And to end up here and not play at Georgia.
Yeah.
You know, it speaks to his development and his want to and his desire to be great. And it's paying enormous dividends in his final year.
2nd down and 7 in a game that's starting to feel like if BC wants to win, they're going to have to get a takeaway. Almost making a one-handed catch is Jalen Samuels. Let's go back to Cassidy.
Thanks, Bob. Number 15, Oklahoma State, taking on number 21, Iowa State in a battle. Cyclones down 24-21 until David Montgomery gets in from 3 yards out. Iowa State takes the 28-24 lead. This game on ABC or ESPN 2 or everywhere on the app. Back to you guys.
Well, one of the more surprising seasons in college football this year. How about the Cyclones?
Just amazing. Speaking of development and working hard and getting everything out of what you got.
3rd down and 7. Again, BC shows blitz. Here they come. Finley on a strike up the seam. He finds Jacoby Myers, beats the blitz for 16 yards and a 1st down.
That's now 8 of 13, and really the previous drop on the 3rd down was nothing to do with Finley. If this is going to feel like an NFL game here in the final 17 minutes and the score is kind of indicative of this, and I like huddling up. When they're huddling, that means more than likely Wildcats, so keep an eye on that. But if it feels like an NFL game where every big play is going to come out of situational football, 8 of 13's winning football on 3rd down.
And Finley is split out wide left. Wildcat snap coming to Jalen Samuels. He'll keep it himself. Picks up 2.5.
He is patient. He is about as patient as anybody we have seen this year. I referenced a 4th down conversion a week ago that was stopped. But he literally stopped inside to bounce it outside. His touchdown run today, he comes to a stop. And that is hard to do with grown men all around you wanting to take you to the ground, and he just outbursts them.
Backwards pass, and that's loose. Scooped up on the dead run. Boston College gets the takeaway, and it's Kevin Bletzer that finds the loose ball, and he's holding on to it. NC State tries the trick play, and now Boston College at the 23-yard line in position to try and tie the game or take the lead.
I think about 2 minutes ago, a guy named Bob Wischusen said, feels like the defense is going to have to do something. They're going to have to create something. Well, they take advantage of a critical mistake there by NC State. That is the area of the field you love to call your shots, but that one unwarranted, and especially against the defense that has just played so sound. On the back end of their defense, a poor pass. Big play for BC.
Here's A.J. Dillon spinning off a tackler inside the 20-yard line. Jared Fernandez, the leading tackler for NC State.
I think I give it to him 3 times. Give it to Dillon 3 different times. Between the tackles, find a little toss sweep play. I think in this moment, I got to get my best player as many touches as I can.
He'll take it again here. Drive his way to the 16-yard line, about 4 yards shy of a first down. Jermaine Pratt made the stop inside of a minute to go in the third. And let's see, it'll be 3rd down and 3.
He comes off the field because, well, he's got 0 receptions and targets this season, something that's got to change in the years to come. But the better pass protector, better pass catcher, Hilleman's now on.
Quarterback keeper. Very close to the first down. It looks like Darius Wade has it. And he does. And the crowd with the backup quarterback in the game. Anthony Brown, of course, out, realizing how important that 3rd down pickup was. Jet sweep. Thad Smith tiptoes. He's at the pylon. He's in for a BC touchdown. What balance by Thad Smith.
Pylon's been busy today. That's the exact corner that we saw Jalen go in earlier. Does he get the ball across here? The incredible balance.
Wow. To stay in bounds as well. And now it looks like the replay booth is going to buzz down, as it was ruled a touchdown on the field. But they want to take another look, as BC right now has the go-ahead score.
And the body control to be running full speed through contact there. I mean, there are some advantages to being 5'8" and 180 pounds, to keep the body control, to keep the feet in, to extend the football down to the goal line.
That would be Thad Smith's 2nd rushing touchdown of the season. And Brock, watching Boston College on tape, you thought that there was a very good chance that jet sweep could be a game-changing play for them at some point. And unless replay takes the touchdown away, it put them on top with that run.
Yeah, it's just when you've got the threat of 240 pounds, it's a wonderful combination to have. You know, Steve Adazio, he was at Florida with a guy named Tim Tebow, who was such a threat as a runner, a power runner, the power run game, everything that he did. And then Percy Harvin and the rest of the guys running horizontally and laterally just burdens the defense and their discipline and their eyes so much.
These two looks, by the way, are synced up perfectly. So this is what the replay booth is having an opportunity to look at.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
BC's got the lead.
How about that response?
And the game-changing play made by the defense, although really an unforced error by NC State, dialing up a trick play with the lead, and it burned them.
And that's what Dave Doran's shaking his head about. This 70-yard run, misaligned, bust assignments, give up a crease, they make you pay. A double pass gone wrong. Boston College takes advantage, makes you pay.
NC State came into today with only 6 giveaways this season. That's the 2nd time they've turned it over at BC. That time it costs them 7. And with 11 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter, Boston College is back on top. And tonight on ABC, Notre Dame, they will square off with undefeated Miami. A top 10 matchup at Hard Rock Stadium down in South Florida. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. Is this an elimination game between these two teams?
Yep. Yeah, you can see the two teams, and we just saw the advantage of what those takeaways do to your team, and how they just empower everybody on the sidelines of belief and emotion and everything else. And yeah, that's a cool chain, man. That's been one of the has that not been one of the images of college football this year? And to see them back and to see game day there and to win 13 in a row and find ways to win. What a job Mark Richt and his staff have done.
There's Max Schulze-Geistable. He's the kickoff specialist. First year on the football team, but scored 7 goals for the BC soccer team last season. Muscles it down to the 7-yard line. Naeem Hines on the return, and it's a good one. Great balance out to the 37-yard line. So again, good field position for NC State, but now they find themselves down by 4.
And BC's going to make you earn it. If you're going to find points, you're going to have to convert third downs. They're 8 of 13. You're going to have to stay on the field and sustain those drives. They are just not giving up the freebies. There's no free access. There's nothing easy. And there certainly have been no explosive real shots down the field or any of the wonderful gadgets. It's just going to be a hard hat kind of game over the final 15 minutes.
Ryan Finley is 10 of 27 throwing the football. He came into today at 66% completion percentage, #1 in the ACC. Only a 4-man rush this time, but Finley looking at the rush, checks it down. And that will take us to the end of the third quarter as John Lamont makes the stop on Reggie Gillespie. After a 2-yard gain, Boston College has the lead as we head to the fourth.
Hey, Capital District, Billy Facillo Sr. here at the Monster Store, Facillo Kia, right here in Schenectady on State Street. And folks, my motto this month is in November to remember, and I'll tell you why. Because $1.50 is going to make you laugh. That's right, $1.50. That's what I'm talking about, folks. Kia Souls, $35,000 Kia Souls, no money down, $150. No money down, don't bring any to the dealership, $150. Now that's huge.
Nicole Lally, only on News 10 ABC.
Papa Shoes and Brock Ewart, Allison Williams, back with our Pacific Life game summary as we head to the fourth quarter. And Boston College Brock has had to lean on A.J. Dillon with the injury to the quarterback Anthony Brown, and he's come through.
And a defense and a pass defense and even a run defense today that has been very solid through 3 quarters. Got to find a way to finish.
Start the fourth quarter. 2nd down and 8 for NC State. Down now. Counter handoff. Naeem Hines with a blocker out in front. Bottled up and brought down at the 42-yard line. Brings up 3rd down again.
Here we go. We've been 13 of them already, these 3rd down opportunities. And that could have been easily a block in the back there on the young true freshman Amizi coming back to help out his buddy. See Hines, he is just not 100% battling through that ankle injury.
3rd down and 5. Another BC blitz. Long throw down the sideline. Climbing the ladder is Harmon. Working on Yaidam, and he's out of bounds. It will be 4th down.
I just said to you during the break, this BC secondary is about as good as we have seen this year. I think Washington's a good secondary. And the item is using that extra defender. That 12th defender is that white paint right there. And you continue to force the bigger receiver that way. The throw took him there anyway. A 3rd down stop for the Eagles.
Wobbly punt. Walker fields it in traffic. Dangerous. Not calling for a fair catch. And he is dropped immediately at the Boston College 26-yard line. As we take a look at our All-State, all hands in play.
It's engine number 9, and he's coming from everywhere. He's been inside, he's been outside, he has pursued, he has played so hard. I was chatting with a few NFL folks leading into this game. I said, when you were a scout and you evaluate NFL defensive linemen, how much do you like their dance moves? Does that ever come into play? It doesn't. But there's a number of other areas where they grade those guys over the course of a game. And I can't imagine anybody that's watching this tape is not going to give him anything but high marks.
A.J. Dillon breaks a tackle. And just had to fight his way back near the line of scrimmage. We take a look at that report card for Bradley Chubb.
In the backfield most of the day. Block destruction, you've seen it even in the run stopping phase of the game. A huge 4th down in the red zone. The motor is relentless. It is boundary to boundary, and then obviously you got to produce. And he becomes the all-time leading sacker in the history of this school today with 2.5 forced fumble. He led to the interception on the hurry. He's done everything. He's done his part.
Darius Wade. Nice throw on the run. Tommy Sweeney, the tight end, has a 1st down. 14 yards on the hookup with Tommy Sweeney.
And this is not going to be rocket science in the final 14 minutes for Steve Adazio. This is going to be run and play action. Run and play action. I don't think you're going to sit in the pocket and ask Darius to read it out, not with the pressure around him. Run, play action for the remainder of this game.
Back to A.J. Dillon. He is hard to bring down. Bulldozes his way for close to 7 yards.
And that is 4 guys. That's like 1,000 pounds that he is pushing against. And when he initiates that first contact, that pile, doesn't matter how many guys try to jump on, it just goes the other way.
And that might be good for another first down. A gain of 4 more to the NC State 47-yard line. You know, his grandfather, Tom Gatewood, played at Notre Dame for Ara Parsegian and was the first African-American captain in Notre Dame history, a college football Hall of Famer. So we've talked about some bloodlines today, and he's got them too. They stay with the workhorse, and this time he is corralled on BC's side of the 50 by B.J. Hill.
Yeah, well, that is a senior picking on a true freshman. I mean, that is grown-up strength. That is B.J. that has added 58 pounds in his career, and not just picking on the freshman Dillon. That was the freshman Petrula, the starting center right there, who has been thrust into action in the middle of that line, and he's staring at B.J., who came in 58 pounds lighter. Well, all he does is squat 600 pounds and bench 450. That is some grown man strength right in the middle of the line.
Here comes the blitz off the edge. No chance for Darius Wade. Back-to-back negative plays, and now Boston College faced with 3rd down and a mile as Sean Boone comes on a nickel blitz and gets the sack.
Yeah, and I would just scrap this stuff. You know, he's trying to fake here, but the running back has to pick up the blitz. They blitz from both sides. NC State is trying to force the issue, which you understand from their perspective. I just don't think any of those risk plays, those deep play action passes within the pocket with a backup that has found himself in this game is going to be best practice for BC.
So it looks like Boston College will most likely just try and buy some real estate for the punt group with a draw play here to Hilleman. And that is the smart play with a 4-point lead. Under 11 minutes to go.
Who can avoid the negative play? Right, who can avoid the negatives, the sack, the false start, just those negative plays and just stay, which we hear all the time. And I just want to stay on schedule, stay ahead of the chains. Which offense is going to do this over the final 10 minutes and 30 seconds? The one that can is going to win this game.
Spiraling kick. Flag down, and it takes a sideways hop out of bounds inside the 5. You can't do it any better if you're Mike Knoll, but there is a flag down back near the line of scrimmage.
Illegal formation, offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
What an enormous penalty against Boston College. NC State was going to start from their own 2-yard line, and now Knoll will have to kick it again.
And Adazio is all over the line judge right there because he knows. I mean, that real estate right there, unless you get another epic punt here and a bounce of that nature, enormous.
So Knoll now a wobbly kick. This will take a Boston College bounce, but will go out of bounds at the 16-yard line. Actually at about the 17-yard line. So NC State with the ball when we come back. College basketball is back. What a way to kick it off with that doubleheader on Tuesday night. And in between those 2 matchups of top 5 teams, we will have the next exclusive reveal of the college football playoff top 25. Play action for Ryan Finley. Under some pressure, finds Nyheim Hines leaking out of the backfield, and he is brought down at the 21-yard line. A gain of 4. John Lamont made the stop for BC.
Gonna earn it. And that's what I would say to Finley. That's if I'm the head coach. That's what I would say to Eli Drinkwitz up in the booth. Like, we've got to earn this, guys. No more of this trick play stuff. They're not buying any of it. They're so sound defensively. Stay ahead of the chains and earn every yard.
Finley, slant, hauled in. Tough catch made by Kelvin Harmon. Short of the first down. Amp Cheevers who has been on ever since Cam Moore went out with an arm injury in the first half. He's done a pretty good job, the sophomore from Trenton, Florida. Another big third down. Third down and 3. Hand off to Samuels. Uses the stiff arm, breaks a tackle, gets down the sideline. Into BC territory before he's finally forced out. He gave the stiff arm to Lucas Dennis and picked up 25.
And a really nice job there by the right tackle, Will Richardson. What did Eli tell us yesterday? Game's on the line. Where am I running it? I'm running to the right. That is where the most confidence is. And Tony Allen, Tony Adams, Will Richardson. An excellent job by the 2 tight ends to get on their blocks and give Jalen the opportunity.
They marked him out right at the 50. So Finley from midfield to throw. Batted down at the line.
So take a look at this. If you're going to find execution against these guys, watch the big right tackle here and then watch the 2 tight ends get their men. I mean, that is the critical facet there. This is not an easy block for a right tackle into space to go and get that block, and that's exactly what Richardson does. He passes it off. The 2 buddies around him do enough, and you don't need to smash people. Just get a hat on a hat and let Samuels do the rest.
Naeem Hines breaks a tackle again, down the sideline in extra gear. Hines inside the 20. He might go. That's an NC State touchdown. And the Wolfpack retake the lead. A 50-yard touchdown run for Naeem Hines.
Yep, and put a little star next to Will Richardson once again. That is the outside stretch play. He does his job. And then one of the very rare occasions, just a breathtaking there. You see the corner there, you eyed him. He just takes a breath, just a moment. And as you said on your call, just an extra gear. If you get flat-footed, he's gone.
Well, Naeem Hines hurt his ankle a couple of games ago against Notre Dame. Going into that Notre Dame game, he was averaging close to 180 yards all-purpose per game. Looks like he's back.
College football on ABC is presented by Kay Jewelers. Kay Jewelers, the #1 jewelry store in America. Every kiss begins with K. In part by Buick, proud partner of the NCAA. And Pacific Life. Experience the power of Pacific.
Hi, y'all. I'm First Lieutenant Seth Hall from Task Force Southwest here in Helmand, Afghanistan. Just want to give a shout out to the Wolfpack family back home. Go Pack.
Well, Seth Hall, from all of us to your family over there, thank you, because we always like to salute all of our nation's veterans, past and present, at this time of year. A lot of courageous soldiers out there, proudly showing off their school pride. You saw some from NC State and BC, and we thank you all for your service.
Well, Seth was watching. He liked that commitment to the ground game right there. Man, they went back to work with the game on the line. The biggest drive to this point went right back to their strengths. Running behind the right side of their line.
Michael Walker gets outside. Good field position for Boston College after a nice return by Walker. Week 10, Monday Night Football. It's a big one for both teams. The 4-4 Dolphins. They've been treading water all year, taking on Cam Newton and the Panthers. Monday Night Countdown kicks off our coverage at 6 Eastern on ESPN. Those are 2 teams that have really had their offensive struggles this year.
The 2 teams got a lot of good defensive players, kind of like what we have seen today, really at all 3 levels.
A.J. Dillon out of the eye. Boston College back to the offense. Good field position. Couple of snaps, and they could be to midfield, down by only 3. And now it's winning time for one of these 2 teams as we approach the midway point of the 4th quarter.
Stay on schedule. It's pretty simple. Avoid the huge negative plays if you're BC.
Dillon again. That'll bring up 3rd down and short as he is up to 190 yards rushing.
33 rushes? That is just a grown man as a true freshman.
Would you call anything here other than giving A.J. Dillon the ball on 3rd and 1?
No.
The simple answer. And there it is, predictable, but the power of Dillon and a push from his teammates. Arius Moore did the best he could to hold on, but couldn't stop Dillon before he picked up the first down.
What else I would do? I would also think about, he's got 34 carries now. I would think about just giving him a little breather. Just get in the huddle maybe. I know you don't do it. It's not in your normal framework. But he's going to be if you're going to score, it's going to be number 2 playing a role in it to some degree and make sure he's got the opportunity to at least catch his breath.
Play action, up the seam. That's a strike thrown by Darius Wade. Boy, he put it right on the hip of Tommy Sweeney, and Sweeney hauled it in.
Yeah, that's pretty good coverage by Jonathan Alston. He is all over it, gets his hands on it. He just can't quite get that hand in front. The converted wide receiver, first-year corner. As long as he's athletic, but that is the advantage of a 6'5", 260-pound tight end. They are just hard to get around.
Straight ahead run for Dillon. And even when he is contacted near the line of scrimmage, it turns into a 5-yard gain.
And he stays healthy. He is going to be beloved here. I mean, you tell me, Bob, you went to school here. A ground and pound, you know, just a star power tailback to build your program around. Is that not just at the essence of BC football when they're at their best?
Steve Adazio said, we think we can get him to the point where one day he could win the Heisman Trophy. That's how good we think he can be. Counter handoff to Hilleman. Close to a first down. Right at the 20-yard line.
And this is gut check time now if you're NC State defensively. You're the seniors. Right, BJ and crew, you guys are the seniors. Justin Jones, Bradley Chubb, Contavious Street. You're the guys that have spent 4 years in the weight room. You're the guys that outweigh and outman this group up front. I know that's what Dave Doran's thinking. Now it is gut check time for you with 5 to go. You've got to find a way to finish.
Back to Dillon again. Stood up after a gain of a couple. Mike Stevens, the left corner, came up to help on the tackle. Neither coach wants to put this game in the hands of their kicker. Play action for Darius Wade and a rollout across his body. Now it'll be 3rd down and 8. 5 minutes to go. Again, Colton Lichtenberg, the place kicker for Boston College, is only 10 for 16 this season. Although he is 7 for 7 from under 40 yards, between 30 and 39 yards, which is where he would be if they fail to pick up this first down.
Then do not go backwards.
A.J. Dillon does go backwards. Lost at least 4. Bradley Chubb and Jermaine Pratt combine on the tackle. Is Boston College going to try for the tie? Yes, they will. Here comes Lichtenberg.
That was the first time that Dillon was hit and went backwards. It's because number 9 hit him.
This will be from 39 yards out, which, as you can see, is right about at the Mendoza line for Lichtenberg for the tie. It's a busted play. Is it a fake? Looking to throw the football is Smith. Hoists it down the sideline. Incomplete. And BC comes away empty.
There was a poor snap there, unfortunately, for Boston College. The littlest of details, and Steve Adazio is going to have a conversation and say, in these moments, in these tight games, it's the little things, it's the details that so often make the difference. And a poor snap here. Jeff Smith couldn't get it down. He did all he could, but it was not enough for BC.
Time to take a look at this week's college football playoff rankings, brought to you by Goodyear and Brock Ewart. We've got 3 games still to come today, featuring top 10 against top 10.
Yep, and amazing because many of them are going to be on the road. And if you're going to be one of the 4 teams left standing at the end and one of the elite, you're going to have to find a way to win out on the road. And I love that. And that's why I don't need to see an 8 or 16 team playoff anytime soon. I love it.
Naeem Hines on first down. Picks up 2.5 yards.
When BC had the ball, Brock mentioned that it was a gut check line for the defensive line. I think the same can be said now for the offensive line. O-line coach Dwayne Ledford told his guys, it is on us to win this football game. Own that 3 technique, impose your will. If we can run the football, we will win the game. But remember, guys, they are without their starting left guard. Prescott out with an upper body injury.
And that 3 technique is right here, creating some movement.
Hines, nowhere to go. Boston College forces the 3rd down they need. Noah Merritt was there. Now, Brock, if you were NC State, and it looks like BC is going to call a timeout, going to ask about a little bit of strategy after we check in with Cassidy.
Big spot back and fourth quarter between Vatech and Georgia Tech after Taquan Marshall threw a pick 6. He responds with this 80-yard pass to Rick June to take the 28-22 lead with about 5 to play there in the 4th. And coming up next on ABC, undefeated Wisconsin hosting Iowa, 3:30 Eastern. You could also see it on the app. Back to you guys.
All right, how much help will Wisconsin get? They got some last night from Stanford against Washington. How much help will BC get from NC State coming up on 3rd down and 9? We'll find out when we return. Huge 3rd down. Brock, what are you calling if you're NC State?
One of those 2 guys, Harmon Samuels, has got to be involved.
So you're throwing the football.
100%.
Empty backfield. And Ryan Finley will throw it. Quarterback draw. He goes down. Well, devil's advocate, there is the last timeout called by Steve Adazio. So at the very least, Dave Doran forces BC to either spend 45 seconds off the clock there or use the timeout. They call the timeout.
Well, and check this out, Bob. This is a good play. This nearly gets there. They empty it out, so there is nobody in the formation there. And you could see this. You are 1 block away here from creasing it and getting your quarterback out. You get everything we want. But BC runs a line stunt and just gets home. Just that shoelace tackle there by guess who? The senior Ty Schwab and his buddy Wyatt Ray right there. Get it done. I do like that call. Show pass, and you saw the concerted effort there by everybody in the BC secondary. They were not going to let Harmon or Samuels win. Finley just could not escape that first level of the defense.
And again, if there was one benefit to that call, Boston College now out of timeouts, but still a lot of time on the clock with 3:20 to go. Knuckleball punt comes close to hitting a Boston College player and takes a great Wolfpack roll down inside the BC 30-yard line. 49-yard punt. Boston College needs a field goal, but the last time they lined up for what would have been a game-tying field goal, Jimmy Martin, the long snapper, well, he snapped it to the right and low of Jeff Smith. And on the broken play, Smith did what he could just to try and throw a prayer down the sideline. Will they get another chance to set up Colton Lichtenberg for a game-tying field goal, or can they get the ball in the end zone and win the game outright?
Take care of the football here, Darius Wade. You cannot take a sack as a senior here. Get the ball out of your hands on the early downs if it's not there.
And where is Bradley Chubb? Lined up at right defensive end. Wade knocked down at the line. B.J. Hill batted it down. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
These are tough matchups. John Phillips, redshirt sophomore right guard, the true freshman center. I mean, this is what you want your senior defensive linemen. This is what they want. This is their moment. A one-dimensional team. Put your cleats in the ground and get after them.
Wade, low throw, scooped up, but incomplete. Unable to hold on was Tommy Sweeney. Now it will be 3rd down and 10. And how much does it hurt Boston College? A.J. Dillon is never a part of the passing game, so your best player is on the sideline. Can't use him in this situation.
Nope, and it's a challenge. And how much does it hurt if you're Steve Adazio and you know you've got to try now on 3rd and 10 to just block Bradley Chubb and to block this group and to give enough time for Wade to push the ball down the field.
Wade on the slant. Unable to hold on was Kobe White. He was close to a first down if he could have held on, but he was hit by Mike Stevens. Now it's 4th and 10, and BC out of timeouts, has to go for it.
It's a pretty good throw. Just a little better play there from Stevens, the senior, on guess what? The redshirt freshman. A bunch of youngsters thrust into some moments here against some veteran players in the toughest of moments and not winning on the early downs.
BC trying to keep the game alive. On 4th down, under pressure, hit as he throws is Darius Wade. Jared Fernandez came on a blitz, and Wade had no chance. And it looks like NC State, barring a miracle, will hold on and win on the road.
And this is tough. This is Hilleman, the 4th-year running back that is in for pass protection, and you can see his eyes point out to the left. His first look is to Chubb. He takes his eyes off the blitzing inside linebacker Fernandez. And once again, just the littlest of details that you don't notice. They'll never show up on a stat sheet, but they show up on film. And that running back is concerned, as he should be, for Chubb, with 2.5 sacks. He takes his eyes for just a moment off his responsibility. Fernandez, who gets a clean angle into the backfield. That's why those guys get drafted in the first 10 picks, because their impact is so significant on so many other pieces, Bob.
Reggie Gillespie. Gang tackled after a gain of a couple, but Boston College now powerless to stop the clock. Coming up tonight on SportsCenter at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time. It is a showdown Saturday. 3 games in the top 10 of the college football playoff rankings. Sizing up Baker Mayfield's Heisman push. And the Sixers take on the Warriors. So Steph and Ben Simmons going head-to-head tonight on ESPN, of course, streaming live on the ESPN app as well.
Yelling, get set, get set.
And snapping with 3 on the play clock. Gillespie to the 25-yard line. It brings up 3rd down and 6. Now, Boston College could get the football back with about 30 seconds or so on the clock, depending on what happens on the next 2 plays, if they can get a stop.
And this is where the 5th-year player, I'm not going to say 5th-year senior, because Finley still has another year of eligibility with a medical redshirt, but this is the advantage. And you hear him just command that line, get everybody lined up, make sure everybody gets set. You're going to use every one of these precious seconds on that play clock.
Gillespie, short of the 1st down. Now here's an interesting call for Dave Doran. Do you try a field goal to stretch the lead to 6, or would you go for it on 4th down, try and end the game or pin Boston College deep? What would you do?
As problematic as my special teams phase has been in that field goal group, and you've seen, and even Walker on the kickoff return last time had a nice kickoff return. I think very hard, long and hard about going for it here.
He's going to take the clock down as far as he can before he spends a timeout. So, as we said, BC gets a 3rd down stop. They may get the ball back with about 30 seconds to go, depending on what happens on this play. If NC State goes for it and they get it, the game's over. Would you try a field goal here, though? Would you think about trying to stretch the lead to 6?
I think about it, but again, I just don't trust that operation. I mean, you celebrate. The kicker's on your shoulders earlier because you make 1 field goal. So I think there's just too many things that go wrong there. And after what I just watched for 4 downs with my 4-man rush and a 5th defender come on that last one, I trust those guys to make the impact. And I don't want to see a block. I don't want to see anything go the other way. I don't need to see and worry about a kickoff and a kickoff return. Take a lot of those variables out and trust the most important people. It's going to be that defensive line if you don't get this 4 yards. You?
I would run the ball on 4th down, thinking that even if I come up short and Boston College takes over,
and it's just 2.5 yards
they've got
now.
28 seconds or so left on the clock. And they need, with their backup quarterback and not having shown any ability to be explosive offensively, to get into field goal range in less than 30 seconds. I agree with you. Putting the ball in harm's way with a field goal group you don't trust here
Now,
they're going to leave their offense on the field.
Yeah, now the interesting question is here, what do you do in that run? Are you going to commit to running it behind the right side of that line as you have? Are you going to empty it out, try that QB draw once again? Are you going to bust some tendencies and run it to the left side? Lots of cards you can play, but I think this is the right call.
And BC with 9 defenders in the tackle box. Now a 10th comes in with the motion man. Gillespie, he's brought down. So Boston College does get the stop on downs, and they still have a pulse with 28 seconds to go as Ray Smith made the tackle. Now can BC get a couple of chunk plays and get Lichtenberg into field goal range to have a chance to tie.
And if you're NC State here in your secondary, you have got to be deepest in the deepest. I mean, you allow anything in front of you, and then you go up and you collision and you tackle. And they're going to line up pre-snap here. A good 17, 18 yards. Well, now they're creeping up a little bit, but you need to remain and retain that depth defensively.
Darius Wade under pressure, avoids a sack, stretches the play. Now he goes down. You can't take a sack there.
Nope.
BC out of timeouts, and the clock will wind down. You have to throw the ball away, don't you?
Yes. And that is just a killer.
They're just trying to get set now with 7 seconds on the clock, and they'll spike it and maybe have time at best for 2 more plays. That's if this next one is a quick hitter. Is there anything to do here other than schoolyard football?
Nope.
As you get the ball in play and then count on your receivers to
keep it alive.
Try to make it Stanford against Cal. As now Dave Doran's going to call a timeout.
I don't think you can underscore the significance of this one. I mean, if you're Dave Doran, now 6 seconds away, you're going to go play Wake, and then you're going to get North Carolina at the end of the year, and you're going to hopefully get a chance, if you're Doran, to get that 10th win. And with a senior group, just to take that step. Now, this is going to be the 4th consecutive season if they close this out to get 7 or more wins in a row. The last time was Phillip Rivers in the early 2000s. But just a chance to pay off this senior class that has been your class as well, that you've developed and grown. And if you're Steve Addazio, you're just so frustrated. And you're not going to say it, but losing your quarterback, Anthony Brown, your redshirt freshman, your stud that have really evolved, and losing him to a significant injury in the first half, and thrusting Darius Wade into some tough environments here situationally, like that last play, just not ready for.
What very well might be the final play of the game. Wade, long throw. It is caught by Kobe White, and that may have been an illegal forward pass. It still will end the game as the ball is covered up by Jeff Smith and NC State. And a guy that likes to have fun playing football, Bradley Chubb, celebrates a road win 17-14 over BC. And Dave Doran's team, Brock Eward, now they watch. Now they see if Florida State can pull off what really would be a miracle win at Death Valley. But if Florida State upsets Clemson, NC State still controls their own destiny to make it to the ACC title game.
Hard-fought game, man. That is a tough game. You knew it coming in here that was going to go down more than likely to the 4th quarter. BC gave everything. They've got a young stud to build around, and A.J. Dillon with an amazing day today. But ultimately, those seniors, they were the ones that won it for NC State in the end.
Let's head down to Allison.
Thank you guys very much, Coach Doran. I want to start with that final timeout you called, 4th and 2 on the 21. What was the thought process and conversation about going for it there?
We just thought we could get the first down and the game would be over. We didn't want to risk blocking and having a kick blocked and possible return. You know, thought we'd get the first down running behind our best right tackle, you know what I mean? So didn't get it.
Defense called upon one final time. What was your message to them in the final 30 seconds?
Do what you do. Just stop them. They've been playing well. We played really well on 3rd down throughout the game. That's why you have a good defensive front and you call on those guys to finish. This is a very good football team we beat. I'm proud of our players coming up here on the road on their senior day. They had a bye week. Now we get to go home and play 2 in-state games back-to-back and chance to be 7-1 in the ACC. It's never been done at NC State. Go Pack. I'm going to go party in the locker room.
Rightfully so, guys.
Well, if he finds Bradley Chubb, he's going to find a partner to party with.
Just don't dance off with him. You'll lose.
Good road win for NC State for Allison Williams and Brock Ewart. I'm Bob Wischusen. So long from Chestnut Hill. Back to the studio and College Football Scoreboard.